as a part of our Monday show. That'll come your way about 11:40, and then we'll come back to wrap things up on a rainy morning here on the west side. But glad that you're with us after a fantastic and wild weekend of football all over the place. If for LSU to be off this weekend, you had a lot of time to watch everything else. There was a lot of everything else. Jimmy, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Charlie.
Man, the Saints win 26-14. First win of the Kellen Moore era. The first win for Spencer Rattler as a starting quarterback, and the first win for the Saints period since the beginning of last December. It had been 300 days since the New Orleans Saints had won a football game, and you could tell the joy in the locker room afterwards, the relief, if you want to use that word.
Oh, I think
Uh,
I think a lot of times in sports, winning is a relief. That's not in a Saints locker room. It's joy. It's joy. This is not like Alabama winning and
No,
just
no, no,
gets
not
escaping or something.
not relief because of the pressure, but relief. Just hey, we finally won one.
I
Um,
think it's sheer celebration.
it was plenty of that. 5 turnovers ended up swinging the balance of this game in New Orleans' favor. Big plays by Kool-Aid McKinstry. Big play by I thought the biggest play of the game. And look, there was a number you could have said the 87-yarder to Rashid Shaheed, which cut the lead, which was 14 to 6 at that point, to 14 to 13. That was a massive play in the game. But for me, the one that Brian Brusly makes to punch the ball out from Scattaboo when it's still a one-score game and the Giants are threatening on New Orleans' side of the field, to punch that out and have it run back for a touchdown. It completely swings the game. The Saints. This is early in the fourth quarter. The Saints are up less than a touchdown, and if the Giants go in there, it's it's a what and what game the rest of the way for New Orleans, as it was that extended the lead instead of erasing the lead, and with a 12-point margin, the Saints were able to hold the Giants out of the end zone for the rest of the way. In fact, the entire second half. The takeaways were paramount. Rattler had a nice day. No sacks, no turnovers, got the ball out. The Saints had just enough of a running game. The return of Taysom Hill, it wasn't on the stat sheet a whole lot, but they seemed to rally around him a little bit, and it was something else the Giants had to deal with. So good for the Saints. Nobody deserves to lose that many games in a row and not have some kind of reward for your. I'm talking about the players and the coaches,
Okay.
Jimmy.
Well,
I don't want to talk about Mickey Loomis today.
okay. Okay.
I just want to talk
hear
about
you,
the
but I
game.
mean, you say no, but I mean, you put yourself in poor. Okay.
Well,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead. No, I
Continue.
was I was I was
No,
pretty
I
much
mean, no,
done.
no. I got no, no, no.
I felt good for him yesterday. I just did, and I understand what
I feel
the
good
big
for the
picture.
fans too.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
they
what I
still
meant.
showing up. My man with the Kool-Aid hat on. Oh, how beautiful is that? I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. That's quintessential Saints fan base. Being creative and it coming down. I thought the Taysom Hill thing was minimal. Um, I mean, Charlie,
It was minimal on the stat sheet. I thought he gave them an emotional lift yesterday.
I thought the 5 turnovers gave emotional lift.
That did too.
That helps. I mean, that's the big trump card here. I mean, when we breaking it down, I mean, it's just that simple. Dart came out and the Giants came out extremely sharp. When they start coughing up the ball, it was just Saints got back in it. Saints took the lead. Saints extended their lead. It was, and how much was just bad play by the Giants, sloppy play, and how much was created turnovers? It was both, and I thought Rattler against I thought I I thought it was. We were watching this game together at the Queen. I was like, this offensive game plan, execution, quarterback play, trying to get the ball out quick because of you have a respected front that you're going against. Didn't have a sack.
No sacks. I thought that was one of the biggest things in
Oh,
the game. The Giants have arguably more invested in their defensive line than anybody in football. Kayvon Thibodeau was a high first-round pick. So was Abdul Carter. They traded a second-round pick for Brian Burns, which they robbed Carolina on that. And then Dexter Lawrence is, I think right now he's currently the highest-paid defensive lineman in the NFL. If not, he's close. That's a ton of your resources that are into that defensive line. And I didn't think the Saints were overmatched yesterday. Then,
so what I was getting to was that this is we don't know, but this was a team that was well coached. But this is a coach, it's a complete question mark on. It's a quarterback who we don't think has much of a future, but played solid. You got solid quarterback play. There was nothing wrong with his play. And I mean, and then you got a special talent like a guy like Shaheed, who our buddy Mike Delicano stuck around after and said, after Tyreek Hill, this guy is maybe the best deep threat in all the NFL.
I got a stat for you, back set up.
And he completely flipped that safety around, and when it was a no contest as far as pulling away and taking it to the distance. So it was, Olave, made a bunch of – they have weapons. They do have weapons. How good's their offensive line and quarterback play? But it was serviceable. But there's no doubt, Scatterboo. I mean, he's not a fumbler, but he fumbled on that play. It wasn't near the goal line. He was pissed. He was looking, wanted new gloves on the sideline. He's been a bright star for the Giants. One of the few bright spots that they have. Keep in mind that this is a Giants offensive unit that you take away their biggest weapon. We didn't know how they were going to move the ball. Dart looked really sharp, and then he kind of acted like a rookie, making his first start, And it was. There's some bad football games I like out there like that. There's actually the entertainment level. It's not a whole lot of people outside of the rooting interests were really glued to it. But the game was fine, and then it got completely sloppy where the Giants could not stop turning the ball over, and you see what you have. But I thought Rattler is probably a backup when it's all career long, but the whole thing of it's not just on him when they're losing all these games, but his first career win. So that's sort of to your thing, to follow up your theme of feel good for somebody.
Yeah.
So more his first, Rattler his first, and you have some of the veterans as well. The Shaheed thing in his last year of his contract is going to be interesting because if the Saints don't pay him, I got to believe somebody will. Because what do we say about Charles? Guys that can do things that other guys can't.
Yeah.
He's one of those guys.
Since 2022, which was when he made his NFL debut, he has 16 plays of 40 yards or more. Only Tyreek Hill has more, and it's 2 more at 18 to back up Mike's point. I thought that
I love him.
No, he's fantastic, and
I'm just trying to get him more production and more, just trying to figure out ways. But this is Kellen Moore's specialty, and I mean that was you got to be selective when you're asking for protection, enough protection to throw the ball that far downfield. And I thought it was a really nice game plan by Moore. It allowed his quarterback to have some success.
It was a terrific design on the touchdown to Shaheed because they went with 3 tight ends. So they've got the Giants looking in the backfield, and they get him loose there. They break a tendency, and it was a really nice play design.
Why I balk at the Taysom Hill comment is because Taysom Hill has come in when his team is really sharp and needs a spark. Didn't need it. Didn't he? He's a fan favorite, and he's one of my favorites too. But I think his impact on that game and that final score yesterday was minimal.
Well, he did. There's not a lot of stats to that he did. He had the 119-yard pass.
It's nice to have him back. It's nice to have that club in your bag.
Yeah, and they kind of rally around him a little bit. He's like you say, he's a favorite. But no, he didn't make a ton of plays yesterday. I just thought that they benefited from his presence. Now for Rattler, here in the early going, here's where I think he's improved from last year. I thought he had improved in protecting the football. he's turning the ball over less. He's taking less sacks. He's taken a lot of prior to yesterday, a lot of checkdowns, and that's fine. Those things that don't ultimately lose you the football game. The knock was he wasn't making a whole lot of plays to win them games either. Well, that throw was a big-time throw. I'm not saying he can make it every week.
It was a nice throw.
That was a very nice throw. It was a nice design, nice play call. The whole thing was terrific there. So if he can make more of those plays, he's going to make it harder for.
He's not done improving.
That's right. That's what I'm saying. If he can make more of those plays,
10th start.
Yeah, he started out 11. He started out 0-10.
He hadn't even hit the halfway point of the 25. I mean,
so he's got this year. That's progress.
And he's going to have some bad days too. I mean, he's not done. I mean, the premature final evaluation of quarterbacks is just unbelievable at all levels.
Same draft class as Bo Nix, by the way. Same draft class as Bo Nix. Bo Nix dealing with some pretty similar issues, but has been a starter this whole time.
Bo Nix took a very shaky day and finished out very strong. And it was a Sean Payton, like, I'm going to run the ball first. And so he helped him out. And we'll get to that a little bit later with some other quarterbacks not having. Quarterback's best friend is a rushing game, along with some other things, but that certainly helped. He did not panic down 14.
No. And he was 1 for 10 on balls that were more than 10 yards down the field in the first 3 quarters. 4 for 4 in the fourth.
He's an analytics, headache. Wait a minute, you're down 14, you score, you go for 2, right? No, he doesn't do that. He goes he's down 7 and goes for 2. So Peyton is,
yeah,
he's something, man. Best win for him. We'll get to him later.
Yeah, one more thing on the Saints, and then I'll quit. One of my least favorite things to talk about is officiating. I mean, I just can't stand it because it just aggravates me, because we can sit here and argue about this bad call back all day, okay? It does nothing, okay? Nobody, you may make you feel better, but you're not going to get any mileage out of screaming at the ump. But that call on Carl Granderson yesterday was absolutely a suspendable offense for that official.
It's a big call at the time, too.
Yes. I mean, the Giants are trying to get back in the game. This is the fourth quarter. And what really irritates me about this call is you're trying to get a quarterback on the ground, okay? You can't hit him high. You can't hit him low. And you can't hit him late. Okay, all of those, fine, I get it. But you got to get him on the ground. And if you watch Buffalo and New England last night, how many times were Josh Allen and Drake May almost on the ground, almost out of bounds, and make a play? So you got to make sure you get him on the ground. And they teach you to release the guy so you don't fall on him. And Granderson does everything right. He does it exactly. You could tell Kellen Moore in the postgame just trying not to get fined. But he said, this is how we coach it, okay? This is how the league has instructed us to coach it. Hit the quarterback. Don't hit him below the waist. Don't hit him above the neck and shoulder area, and don't land on him. And Granderson, this is a teaching video. You show this video in camp and say, this is how you do it. And they flagged him anyway.
Okay, they flagged him. You make a lot of mistakes, but there's a review, right?
No.
See, that's the problem. I mean, you're going to miss things for real time, Charlie. You're going to miss them. You're going to miss.
This wasn't a close call. This wasn't he almost hit him.
Why is it not reviewable?
The official behind Granderson is the one who threw the flag. My guess is he saw high contact, but it wasn't
there. No, he anticipates. And what you do with
I think that's right.
The biggest flaw, when you really blow a call, the biggest flaw is anticipate. What looks like, no, you got to see it. Miss something before you call something that's not there. That's and then when you have a really bad call, they're calling what they think happened based on what they see, but they didn't actually see it because it didn't happen.
This was the phantom foul in basketball.
But you anticipated
it. And it was irritating, and I hope that the league says something about it.
Why no review? Why no review when you look at it and say, no, this is a mistake?
4-hour games.
Yeah, that's the answer.
Well, then there you go. So hate the game, not the player, because, Charlie, just this in, that's go on a field. Go on a field in a high school game, see how fast it's looking. You go on a game on a field for an NFL game, it is moving really quick. And I understand they're trained, but you're going to miss things, but I don't anticipate. But this is not the only thing is anticipated that they
You
miss.
could expand the expedited review. Just be in their ears when they're talking about it. Be like, hey guys, that's not a foul, and just get on with it. After further discussion, no foul on the field.
And the expedited is really good when executed properly because there's no delay. No, forget the review. No, we're moving on. Okay, so you have that, and so this one wasn't close. Why not allow your booth, who has the luxury of quick replay, slowing it down? No, this didn't happen. It's just a mulligan for your officials trying to officiate the game in real time.
Somebody in the God spot could have corrected this instantly. I mean, this is not one of.
Do the rules allow him to do it?
No, they don't.
And that's,
but they could. This one was as bad as it gets, and it just. And I've been on the sideline. I understand how fast the game is. This one wasn't close, so I hope that they address that. We're at Walkons in Brusly.
Yeah, Charlie.
My spot. This is my spot.
This is Max
You can set me
Gotro.
up.
Max Gotro
Yes,
country.
Charlie, we're at Walkons in Brusly.
I'm looking at the bar stools. I got my seat picked out already. I've been here plenty of times. Great bar, great selection, great service. By the way,
if you're a beer connoisseur, this is one of the best places to go because you got about 4 dozen beers on tap. All of your traditional favorites, plus the seasonal brews that they rotate out. I'm sure we're going to have some fall. Jimmy, you predicted fall. Fall is here. We have some fall brews, and then we'll get some winter brews as we get to a little bit later. So you're always going to have something. You can go back on your favorites, or you can go to something. You want to try something new, you can do that here at Walk-Ons in Brusly.
Yeah, like Max is alluding to as far as the service, and that's not by accident. That's one thing. You go to Walk-Ons anywhere, they have a system in place. They're training and they do things where you're going to get consistency in your service wherever you go. Not consistency in the food that you order, the drinks that are prepared, and also the service that you get. So no, it's no doubt that applies also to our walk-ons here in Brusly.
Live at Walk-Ons live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch.
Are you feeling hopeless, isolated, depressed?
For years, I lived my life in fear. It's just that my mind could not shut off.
Fear, isolation. These are the battles that so many people face every day. But it doesn't have to be this way. Now, Gail doesn't suffer like she used to, thanks to TMS therapy at NeuroJust, a minimally invasive treatment proven to improve depression without the side effects of medication.
Now I can go shopping, come back home, cook, put clothes in the laundry. I can do multiple things in one day. I have never did this in about 22 years.
Start your healing journey today with your free consultation at NeuroJust. Call 225-755-9733. 225-755-9733. That's 225-755-9733.
Hey Tiger fans, this is head coach Brian Kelly. When running a football program or any organization, core values are so important to the success of the operation. Integrity, honesty, and family is what they're all about at Hollingsworth Richards Ford, and I've experienced that firsthand. I've gotten to know them through their support of our football program. So it's simple. All of you truck buyers across the state, and I know there are a lot of you, when it's time for that brand new vehicle, go to Hollingsworth Richards Ford and tell them Coach Kelly sent you.
Stabs Prime Steak and Seafood? Stabs Prime Steak and Seafood. Well, I guess along with those sizzling steaks, we do have wood-fired oysters and scallops, beautiful sea bass, fresh Gulf fish and shrimp, and rich Ora King salmon. So yeah, Stabs Prime Steak and Seafood. Jefferson Highway across from Palermo Ristorante. Tell Leo that Kevin sent you. And don't forget, there ain't no cake in that crab cake. Come and see us.
New tax resolution firms are popping up every day with high-paid celebrity endorsers advertising ridiculous claims in their TV ads. That's why they have the tiny, unreadable disclaimers at the bottom of the screen. Hi, this is Kerry Bryson with the Bryson Law Firm. Our ads never have those ridiculous, fast-talking, tiny disclaimers at the end because, simply put, there are no guarantees when it comes to the IRS and wiping out tax bills. And we don't make promises we can't keep. Of course, there are ways the Bryson Law Firm can help resolve your tax debt, but no company can guarantee it will eliminate it. This is why their clients call the Bryson Law Firm when those promises don't pan out. If you have tax problems, you have legal problems. Call the Bryson Law Firm. Our headquarters are in Lafayette, and we have offices statewide. Or visit brysonlawfirm.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm, the Bryson Law Firm. LSBA filing number LA2518447.
Introducing your new Dell PC with the Intel Core Ultra processor. It helps you handle a lot, even when your holiday to-do list gets to be a lot. Like organizing your holiday shopping and searching for great holiday deals and customer questions and customers requesting custom things, plus planning the perfect holiday dinner for vegans, vegetarians, pescatarians, and Uncle Mike's carnivore diet. Luckily, you can get a PC with all-day battery life to help you get it all done. That's the power of a Dell PC with Intel inside, backed by Dell's price match guarantee. Get yours today at Dell.com/deals. Terms and conditions apply. See Dell.com for details.
Hey, it's Reese Davis. Let's be honest, you can't keep an eye on everything unless you've got Blink Outdoor 4 cameras. While you're focused on the game, Blink's keeping an eye on your home.
With up to 2-year battery life and with Sync Module XR, you can cover more space without constant maintenance. No wires, no worries. Blink helps keep an eye on what matters most. Get Blink today at the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Walkons in Brusly on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Remember, the show's available on demand, 1045ESPN.com, LouisianaSports.net. It's brought to you by Supreme Rice, with helping Louisiana farmers since the 1930s. All our Supreme Rice grown, built, and processed in South Louisiana. For more information, go to SupremeRice.com. We saw so many things in college football this weekend that it's hard to know where to start, but the game that shocked me, shocked everybody, I think, was out at the Rose Bowl, where UCLA, a 24.5-point underdog, beat Penn State outright, 42-37. We've seen big upsets before. We've seen bigger upsets by the point spread than this one. But I'm very hard pressed, other than maybe Stanford's win over USC, to think of a game that surprised me more than this one. And when Stanford beat USC that year in 2007 as a 41.5-point underdog, USC doubled them on the yardstick and turned the ball over 5 times. In other words, there were some unusual things happen. UCLA came out on fire. Nico had, an unreal game, especially running the football. UCLA, who was not only down the head coach, but was with interim coordinators on both sides, with an interim play caller who found out on Tuesday that he was going to be calling plays on Saturday. Yeah, Jerry Neuheisel, who's Rick Neuheisel's son. And
everybody knows him now.
Right.
It looks just like him, too.
You were blown out of this same stadium 3 weeks ago by New Mexico. And here comes Penn State smarting off a loss in double overtime to Oregon. You take the first drive, you go right down the field. You ambush them with an onside kick that they don't see coming that's wide open. You get a field goal out of that drive, and we're off to the races. UCLA led this thing wire to wire. The yardstick was almost identical. Actually, UCLA had them by almost 100 yards, but the first downs, a lot of the other stuff was very, very close. There was only one turnover in the game that was by Penn State, other than the downs which UCLA caused. This was not a fluke. UCLA beat them on Saturday. I don't know if they could beat them again. I don't know if they could beat them 2 or 3 times out of 10, but they beat them on Saturday. This wasn't a bad weather, high turnover, somebody was out game. They just beat them, and that shocked the hell out of me.
Well, the shock is Nico, but it's so when you get the say, okay, it's your offense on Tuesday night when they let go Sinceri. So they let go the head coach, and they let go Sinceri going into this one. They're 0-4, and they got housed at home by New Mexico. I watched New Mexico Friday night. They're not good, okay? But so you got to, what do? You make some adjustments, but you can't install a whole lot. You got to try and figure out what does he do comfortably, because Nico threw for 166 yards. Big deal, right? But just 7 yards an attempt, 2 TDs, but just some production with his arm allows him, then all of a sudden, man, he can really run the ball. They were chipping the ends. In the conversation with his dad, he said, man, I've watched Penn State enough to know, like, those ends are a problem, kind of chip those. But it looked like a different quarterback to where, like, okay, I see a little bit why this kid was so highly recruited, as opposed to a kid that great athlete can't throw. He threw the ball. They had just enough with their passing game to loosen him up where then his legs could really turn over. They were 10 of 16 on third down. Check out what they were on third down before this game against much less heralded group. And we'll get to why they're heralded to begin with. But this was, Charlie, but they also whooped them up front, rushing the football.
Yeah, for over 200 yards, right? Like
269.
Yeah.
269. Oregon didn't rush for 269 against the Penn State. So this was a classic case where, when you try and preach at all levels, from U10 to the NFL, don't let one loss turn into 2 or 3. Your pitcher. Don't let one walk you upset. You walk the guy. Don't let it turn to 2 or 3. Don't let, you can't let next play, next game. And they did a very poor job. And there was nothing on tape that could gain the respect of their opponent. So they obviously didn't do that. And they're scratching and clawing when they're in a game all of a sudden. Even at the NFL level, Rams, with all the injuries that San Francisco had, you can't spot a team 14 points and then start trying to play. And so you can't spot them 10 points trying to play. They got the block punt for a touchdown. To try and get them close, talking about Penn State. But then when it's all said and done, what was one of the big stories? Aller comes back, but also both of those backs would have been drafted fairly high, the running backs for Penn State.
Allen and Singleton.
So when you're in your last play, 7-point game, 4th and 2 from the 9, I'm going to rush Drew Aller, a design run for Drew Aller. Drew Aller's going to be my leading rusher for the game. And where a lot of people, including myself, like, Drew Aller should not be this high on draft boards. Drew Aller is not. He had a lot of heart and toughness. He did what he can, but where's handing off to the? This is supposed to be your bread and butter, offensively. And so one play caller really had a good day, okay, because he put a quarterback in positions to succeed more, knowing his limitations and making some easy throws and some easy reads along the course of the way. And the other one who was highly heralded, his name again, Kotelnicki, okay? He doesn't know what he's trying to do right now. I mean, he's just not saying he hasn't accomplished things in the past, and he hadn't, but that's your, Charlie, you play, if you have a play. So you're telling me you got about 5, like, okay, our 4th down or our 2-point conversion to win the game. Here's our 5 best. You know that. You have that in your mind, in your briefcase, in your playbook, before you even get in the plane to go to Los Angeles. That's your play?
I can't argue with that. Did they panic and get away from the rushing game too early? They were down 10 points before they get the ball. They're down 20 at the half. Did they panic a little bit? Well,
a lot of those runs, a lot of Aller's runs were called on pass plays, maybe so. And that's the problem with Aller and Manning, who everybody wants to rip him right now. Manning's made, his 6th start? He's young. He's going to make some mistakes. But they're both not getting rid of the ball. They're both not trusting the passing game. And those two guys, for pocket passers, they're not dual threats. Okay, pocket passers to not be committed to the passing game first. They're quitting on the passing game too much. And that's a problem with guys who can really run because they can get away with that, but it's just not. But here's the thing. They beat number 17, right? 24 points, 24-point spread, right? Why in the hell are they number 7 in the country? Because where's their wins?
Because they're
Florida
because
International.
Of the preseason. Yeah,
This is the problem with the polls, and thank God that they're gone, okay? Once the games start, your preseason ranking shouldn't influence. They did nothing to earn a number 7 ranking. I understand you got to do a preseason, but let it go. And the pollsters still cannot figure that out.
Well, Jimmy, they've corrected it now. 3
well,
of the top
it's a week late.
3 of the top 4 preseason teams are out of the top 25 altogether.
Right, but where were they? Where was their win to be?
And Texas, being number 9.
LSU's in top 5 because they had a win at Clemson that was supposed to be that we're saying. But when you beat Long Island, Nevada, Charlie,
Florida International.
Florida International,
and Villanova.
Villanova. I'm sorry. I mean,
Long Island played Florida.
And can you have a Power 4 win? Where was Texas? Where was their Power 4 win?
They still don't have one.
Why? What have they done to earn it? For your preseason ranking, you gotta let it go. And thank God the pollsters don't have any impact in college football and deciding who's the participants in the college football playoff.
Penn State still got to go to Iowa, still got to go to Ohio State, still got to play Indiana. There's a real good chance that they are not going to make the playoffs after being preseason number 2.
Got no room for error.
Yeah,
them and the Irish both. No room for error.
Yeah.
And so that money's down the tubes on Penn State making it to the playoff. So
Penn State's not going to make the playoffs. Texas might not make the playoffs, and the Ravens might not make the playoffs.
Ravens are still favored to win their division, by the way.
They're in a hell of a hole.
Yes.
We'll get to that later.
good job, Max.
Yes.
I've jumped on your back on that one. So on the Houston Texans, because that was that. Yes. Don't forget our friends at Legacy Title. Chad Reynolds at Legacy Title for all of your real estate closings. 296-0060, full service title company servicing all of South Louisiana. Fast, friendly, professional service is what you get when you call 296-0060. From our great staff, our great team, Ashley Donald, Mariana Haynes, Adrian Gallardo, Michael Platt, Natalie and Bradford Smith. I saw my buddy Chad Reynolds over at the Federales Fest on Saturday night. Great job, Jay Hover. What an awesome time that was. Again, Legacy Title, 296-0060.
Live at Walkons in Brusly. Live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch.
Craving an unforgettable dining experience? Head to Tallulah inside the Renaissance Hotel, where culinary excellence meets a welcoming atmosphere. Awarded the Wine Spectator Award of Excellence, Tallulah is one of just 6 Baton Rouge restaurants to earn this prestigious honor. Join us for live music every Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, or enjoy our weekly Blue Plate lunch specials and happy hour favorites. Visit Tallulah at the Renaissance Baton Rouge, where every meal is a celebration.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and First American Bank and Trust bring you the Heart of the Game Award, recognizing student athletes who deliver when it counts. Nominate your game day standout at 1045ESPN.com by the 21st. And then it's up to the fans to vote for the winners. Each winner gets a $250 gift card, a custom award, and the spotlight they've earned. Presented by First American Bank and Trust, a banking tradition since 1910.
Struggling to lose weight? Feeling overwhelmed by diets and exercise plans that just don't work? There's a better way. Unique Physique offers weight loss injectable medications. Semaglutide, now only $195 a month, and Tirzepatide is only $325 a month. The lowest prices in town. No contracts, no gimmicks, just real results without the hassle. Visit uniquephysique.com or call today to schedule a consultation and unlock your weight loss potential. Unique Physique, your weight loss solution.
Tiger fans, this is Garrett Nussmeyer. When my home had a serious mold problem, I turned to Paris Restoration. Owner Jim Woodworth and his team treated my house with their patented, non-toxic dry fog system. It was safe, effective, and the results were incredible. If your home or office has mold, trust the experts I trust. Paris Restoration. Visit parisrestoration.com today. Go Tigers.
Chevy trucks have you covered when the road takes you from smooth sailing to Chevy Colorado will eat up some of the toughest terrains with 5 available drive modes. And Silverado and Silverado HD have the muscle to take you out for some serious. With multiple engine options and impressive towing, while Silverado EV is the perfect combo of performance and capability.
Nice.
Making it a snap to hitch up this electric truck and hit the road. Wherever the road leads, Chevy trucks are right there with you. Chevrolet, together let's drive.
Go local and go free with Go Free Checking from Neighbors Federal Credit Union. No monthly maintenance fees, no balance requirements, and no strings attached. Just the safety and security that comes with Baton Rouge's largest credit union. And with direct deposit set up through NFCU's Early Payday program, you can get access to your funds up to 3 days early. Come by one of our 11 area branches or apply online at neighborsfcu.org. Go free with Go Free Checking from Neighbors Federal Credit Union. Insured by NCUA.
Shane and Kathleen Holland here, the new owners of Southern Oaks Athletic Club in Baton Rouge.
Inviting you and your family to come see our incredible facility in person, especially if you've never been to Soak before.
Southern Oaks Athletic Club is the perfect place for your family to swim, play tennis, work out, take a class or two, have dinner, and so much more.
Book an appointment to see for yourself at soakitup.com.
That's Soak, S-O-A-C, itup.com. Now.
Tommy Kissinger here with Tommy's Windows, Doors, and Siding. We also do gutters, patio covers, and screen rooms. Give us a call for your free estimate today and visit our website, GEAUXTommies.com.
Looking for a reliable and hassle-free trash removal? Trash Rangers is your answer. Go to trashrangers.com for residential pickup, commercial pickup, and roll-off dumpsters today.
Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. 5 brands on one lot. Shop BayouAutomotive.com.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Walkons in Brusly on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge. Jimmy, Charlie, and Troy. 3 best buddies sitting around talking sports bets. Let's welcome in Troy Macker from Bet Rivers.
Well, Troy, just to let you know, me, Max, and Charlie, who are all here today, have Survivor with a pool. Max's submission this week was the Arizona Cardinals. Oof. Troy?
I mean, he's not alone. If he's upset that he's out of the Survivor, I mean, I saw the circa results, and I think like 30% of the remaining field was knocked out this weekend because of the amount of upsets that took place. You know, I think I saw there 3 dogs of at least a touchdown that won outright, and then you tack on the Broncos who were 4.5. So I mean, it was just a wild weekend of NFL, and not just the results, but how we got there. I mean, you know, the DeMarcado fumble at the goal line in the Cardinals-Titans game. You know, in the Commanders-Chargers games, there were 2 swings of 10 points or more. So it was just absolutely wild. You know, we're now, the teams are comfortable, but this is where teams get a little too comfortable and players start feeling themselves and don't have mistakes. You don't really see in the first few weeks just because they're trying to get their sea legs back. But now this is the NFL we come to expect on a week-to-week basis.
Over 60% of the circle field was knocked out this weekend.
Hey, Troy, over 60% of the field that entered this week, week 5, was knocked out. So, and yeah,
go, Charlie.
Because 66.7% of our entries were knocked out this week. So with the Rams on Thursday,
look at us hitting for par.
Yeah. So but anyway, and Troy, I didn't do it. Max, you saw 45-1.
I saw 45-1 live on the Titans.
Okay. So I can't do it at that point. But what I try to suggest to people is when you see it coming, and when they got the touchdown, they cut it to 2. I got 14-1. I got plus 190 when the Titans have the ball with like 2 minutes to go, and all they need is a field goal. I'm like, and the algorithm is based on that they were, 7.5, 8-point favorites. That's why, the same thing with San Francisco and the Rams. With San Francisco, the punt to the 2-yard line, it wasn't at the very end of the game, but it was tied, and they were still plus 290. My point is, Troy, the live part of this, I think the live betting has added 10 years to my life. So, I mean, it is the therapeutic leg of the option. Some people just don't do it. Some people don't feel comfortable. Some people feel that they covered away. I just don't know how I can do this without having this club in my bag. It's my favorite club.
I would say this. So we took a $100 bet at 55-1 on the Titans, and that is I did a double take when I saw that. Because that, for any live odds in any sport, is, especially a pro sport, is just wild. You certainly rarely see them get up to 51. Super long, usually 35-1, 25-1, something like that. And I think it's cute that live betting has added 10 years to your life, because one of those years, at least, that's been added to yours has been taken away from me because I love live betting on European soccer matches late in the match when teams are up 2-0. If there's 10 minutes to go in a game, you should be able to win a game if you're up 2-0. I'll do a long parlay, and my God, I get killed every time. However, this weekend on Saturday, and I was talking with Max about this game. I got on UCLA quite early in that game against Penn State and continued to hammer them on the money line until they got to minus money. And it played out, even though Penn State made a little bit of a comeback. But, even early on, I was getting UCLA, when it was 7-up and 450, which is a decent price. Got them 275, 190. So Penn State was live betting on UCLA, which is not something I've been wanting to do this year. It was very successful.
I jumped on it at plus 115, so it was very late, but yeah, it just, and I guess that's a good because if you see a game that's the game that's actually happening is not what was forecasted. Like Charlie said when we were talking about UCLA earlier, this was not a fluke. This is not just lucky bounces and plays, which the Titans needed a couple of those, obviously, along the way. But this game is unfolding. This game is it's just different. If you watch the San Francisco Rams game on Thursday night, that was not the game forecasted. I mean, Mac Jones is playing a completely different level than was expected. I mean, so kind of, I guess that's the big thing because you can, and like to your 2-0 sort of approach with 10 minutes to go, that's what I got at plus 1,400 yesterday. I'm just going to put a little something on here just in case. So that insurance policy, and some people don't like to do it, Max.
Well, Jimmy, what you also have to think about there with the UCLA-Penn State game, and I thought that was a great shout by Troy on UCLA, is now all of a sudden Penn State's in a trailing game state. This is a different team. Now you're trusting Drew Aller. It's not the running game. And so they had to change. And granted, they did move the ball. They had 30 points in the second half. But it's a different type of team when they're down as opposed to when they were supposed to be 24
and on the flip side, and there's no doubt, like when you watch Justin Fields try and play quarterback when they're down multiple scores and they throw it, 100%. Now on the flip side, we know how bad, we know the Dodgers, but the Yankees bullpen has been rough. Okay, Freed has been outstanding. Freed don't have it. At 5-0, I had to jump in and lay 4.5 runs. I said, that they hitting him, what are they going to do to the bullpen? And so, just kind of, I guess it's just a rule of thumb. Whatever way, if the game is completely altered from what was forecasted, I got to believe it was a big weekend for the house yesterday, Troy, with so many of these. With the knockout pools, the survivor pools kind of correlate with knocking out the money line parlays.
Yeah. I mean, it was a pretty bad weekend for the public. Pretty damn good Sunday for the book. Biggest intake or hold for us this season. I believe it's in the top 3 of the last 3 years. Due in large part to Sunday Night Football. 10% of the total Sunday handle was on the Bills minus 7.5 and Bills to win.
Wow.
So that and Lions minus 10 was a heavy bet, 5% of the money, but then after that it drops down to 3%. So a lot of money tied up in the Bills, and when they lost, that was I believe that was 7 figures coming back to us. There were certainly some wins in the favor of the public. Like it wasn't just a bloodbath across the board, but in the big matchup, Philadelphia and Denver as well, that one being, very lopsided in the favor of the book. And similar results, honestly, on Saturday as well, because, as I talked, Texas remains a public team, and they were playing Florida, a team that people are fading even more than Texas, so we took a ton of money on Texas. That did not work out well. Obviously, Penn State at UCLA was a big loss for the public. So it was a pretty decent weekend for the sportsbook across the board.
Yes, indeed. Troy, what other big takeaways in evaluating from the weekend from the book side that we had this past Saturday or Sunday?
Yeah, I think just in the NFL, this is kind of the year where people think they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And what the great thing about the NFL is it is week to week. The Falcons lose 31-0 to the Panthers and then blow out the Commanders. The Commanders then go and beat the Chargers, a team everyone's high on. It's so hard to gauge week to week. Even though the Patriots are on the upswing, people, I don't think they played very well last week, and the Bills have been white hot, and it was in an evenly matched division game, so to speak. 7.5 was a lot at home, and people were writing off the Patriots from the jump. I mean, this is a strongly played game from the public from the start. Obviously, the Cardinals, I don't know why people continue to bet on them. They're very untrustworthy. But the Lions, who after week 1 didn't look too good, they are red hot. And, when you're talking about 86% of the tickets on them to cover 10, that is including live bets at the end of the game. That's something you don't see very often in the NFL. So, but are people now going to hammer the Bengals or fade the Bengals nonstop?
Yeah.
They're not just going to keel over and die. People were on the Giants this weekend against the Saints. The Giants are an untrustworthy team, but they bought into Jackson Dart after his first game. So it's such week to week, and I think people forget that, and they bet off the back of the last week when we know that is not always going to be the case, where a team plays well one week and then plays well the next week. How often does it happen? Not very.
Troy, how much money swung in what direction on the 2 late touchdowns Saturday? Alabama could have kneeled on the ball. They ran a 4th down play. They scored a touchdown. They cover. And then late that night, TCU could have tried a field goal. Their kicker's been shaky, so they decide to throw one to the end zone on 4th down. They convert, and they cover over Colorado.
And Friday night, BYU covering with less than a minute to go, Troy.
Well, I know for a fact that the Alabama one, it was kind of two-way money on that one. Now, we did take a lot of tickets on Alabama -11, but while Alabama -11 was the 4th most wagered on play, I think Vanderbilt plus 11.5 was the 6th or 7th most. So that swung a lot. Last year and the year prior, we took a ton of money on Colorado. That is not the case this year. Those games have been slotted way far down in terms of what people are betting on. So I'm not exactly sure how that one impacted. I haven't had a chance to look at that one, but I know that things could have gone in a wildly different direction. In that Alabama-Vanderbilt game, because people are just like the public is buying in the Vanderbilt, the bettors are as well. And given that it was a pretty long, big spread at 12.5, 11.5, that was the side. If I were to play that game, I would have been on Vanderbilt, and I'd be kicking myself.
There was plenty of kicking themselves on Saturday. We were with some guys. They weren't kicking themselves. It's just a
brutal beat because everybody's trying to anoint Alabama, and Alabama played well. But when Alabama playing well at home in a revenge spot, Vandy has 2 red zone turnovers. 2 red zone turnovers. They were more than competitive.
6-point game going to the 4th quarter.
More than competitive. Yes, indeed. Even with those huge breaks going against them. Troy, where were you looking at for the action tonight before we let you go?
Heavy on the Chiefs. People not buying the Jaguars. 94% of the money, 89% of the tickets on the Chiefs. 78% of the spread money, 71% of the spread tickets are on the Chiefs. All the big bets are on the Chiefs to win outright. The over-under money is a little bit, closer to even. That's due to a couple big bets on under. But right now, 56% of the money and 80% of the tickets on the over. I say don't count out the Jaguars, but as soon as the Chiefs start playing good football, you think they can continue to play good football because it's in their DNA, and they're getting their horses back, so to speak, from injuries and suspensions. This is a good spot for the Jaguars. I think this will, if they're good this year, they're going to play well tonight, and they're going to prove it. But that remains to be seen. But public, even though the Chiefs looked very mediocre the first few weeks, public is well back on sides as you'd expect a team like the Chiefs.
Follow Troy on Twitter at Troy Macher. That's MACHIR. Good luck to you, Troy. Great stuff as always, and we will talk to you on Friday. Thank you, buddy.
Thanks, guys.
All right, don't forget our friends at Total Maintenance, one of South Louisiana's oldest and largest AC heating companies since 1980. My buddy Lucas Ragusa, almost called him Rucus Lagusa.
It's Lock of the Week Friday.
And then, Lucas Ragusa and his great staff over there. He's worked in every different level of this whole operation of an AC and heating company. So he understands what it takes to make a great team and put a great team together and how to run it as efficiently as possible. Service today, every day. Same-day service means you'll never sleep hot. You call today, you get service today. And then something goes down with that AC unit, call my buddy Lucas Ragusa and his staff at Total Maintenance. 480-1000, 480-1000.
Live at Walkons in Brusly, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, it's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch? Every day, from lunch to late night. Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Honesty, integrity, attention to detail, and dedication. Lewis Mechanical Contractors has been providing top-quality plumbing services to Baton Rouge since 1960. Your peace of mind was their business then and still is now. Whatever you need, repair, installation, replacement, they are the area's trusted source for all plumbing jobs, big and small. Call 927-6520. That's 927-6520.
Lewis Mechanical, keeping plumbing humming.
When the grid goes dark, critical systems can't. For over 30 years, Arco Power Systems in Louisiana has helped our hospitals, grocery stores, pumping stations, communication hubs, and industrial facilities stay up and running. Because failure is not an option. When lives, safety, and communities are on the line, reliable backup power isn't a luxury, it's a lifeline. We are Arco Power Systems, and we power the mission. Learn more at arco.com.
This one's for the flavor fanatics. Sour Apple 5-Hour Energy Shots don't mess around. They bring the bite. Tart, tangy, and packed with tasty caffeine, this little 2-ounce bottle punches above its weight. With 0 sugar and as much caffeine as a 12-ounce premium cup of coffee, it's the kind of pick-me-up that keeps your taste buds happy without the crash. And it doesn't stop at Sour Apple. There are 17 bold flavors waiting for you to discover. Pick one up in store or stock up online at 5hourenergy.com or on Amazon today.
Welcome to Only Murders in the Building,
the official podcast. Join me, Michael Cyril Creighton, as we go behind the scenes with some of the amazing actors, writers, and crew from season 5.
The audience should never stop suspecting anything.
How can you not be funny crawling around on a coffin? No, that's true.
Catch Only Murders in the Building official podcast, premiering September 9th wherever you get your podcasts. And watch Only Murders in the Building, streaming on Hulu and Hulu on Disney Plus for bundle subscribers. Terms apply.
Trust isn't given, it's earned by showing up, leading the way, and performing at your best when it matters most. Our Lady of the Lake sports medicine experts know what it takes to improve performance and build champions at every level. That's why LSU chose Our Lady of the Lake as its championship health partner, trusting Louisiana's best medical team to care for our state's best athletes. From championship athletes to everyday champions, trusted care LSU.
For over 52 years, Pala has been building confidence. From steel fabrication, precision piping, tanks, vessels, and helical piles, to full-scale industrial construction and maintenance, Pala delivers results you can trust. With a 70,000 square foot fabrication facility in Louisiana and licenses in 32 states, we're equipped for projects of any scale, anywhere. When safety, quality, and reliability matter, choose Pala. Employee-owned, relationship-driven. Learn more at palagroup.com.
Trust isn't given, it's earned by showing up, leading the way, and performing at your best when it matters most. Our Lady of the Lake sports medicine experts know what it takes to improve performance and build champions at every level. That's why LSU chose Our Lady of the Lake as its championship health partner, trusting Louisiana's best medical team to care for our state's best athletes. From championship athletes to everyday champions, trusted care starts here. Visit OLOLRMC.com/LSU.
This is Garrett Nussmeyer, and Raising Cane's is our victory meal.
The Tigers and their fans are some of the most dedicated in football. It's a quality we share, and that fuels every single order of our hand-battered chicken fingers.
Wherever there's football, there's Raising Cane's. Go Tigers. Raising Cane's chicken fingers. One love. Let's go.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Walkons in Brusly on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Back to our Monday schedule with the Brian Kelly press conference coming your way. about 11:40, and then Brian Kelly will be there up at noon all the way until 12:30. We'll come back and wrap up the show. LSU with the weekend off. South Carolina with the weekend off. That game time announced 6:45 Saturday.
Back-to-back weeks, LSU takes on a team that is all coming off a bye, huh? Vandy will have a bye this week?
Vandy does have a bye this week. And
the Vandy game, the Vandy's good, man. Vandy, I don't, it's not the cute story. I think they have, they've gotten some administrative support and some booster support, and they got it. I think that after even Diego's gone, I think the old Vandy pushover where they can't compete, that might be a thing of the past.
Diego has been a program changer. Can you build on that? Can you build on that?
They're doing the things administratively in all areas that gives them a chance.
Live at Walkons in Brusly, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch.
With WCK, your home will be okay. With WCK, you're on solid ground today. A reputation for a strong foundation makes us leaders among peers. WCK Foundation Repair. WCK, a leader among peers. WCK.
This season, we've got prep football in double coverage. Hey, it's Kate Wazan inviting you to join me Friday nights at 6 for Louisiana Prep Preview, followed by Catholic High Football on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Then over on Talk 107.3, it's Ken Trahan's original Prep Football Report from 6 to 11 p.m., bringing you live in-game updates, final scores, and check-ins with correspondents from every corner of the state. It's all presented by Dr. Pepper. Scores on Talk. Theirs on ESPN. It's our Prep Football double coverage, presented by Dr. Pepper.
There is absolutely no reason to go one more day feeling uncomfortable or insecure about your smile. Hi, I'm Dr. Leo Reagan with Fusion Implant Center.
And I'm Dr. Michael Casadban. Our goal at Fusion Implant Center is to create that perfect smile for our patients in a single day. Thousands of patients cannot be wrong. That's why dentists from all over this state trust us with their patients and family members.
Every doctor here at Fusion Implant Center is board certified. We have the same staff, same doctors, same skilled care through your entire experience, unlike the corporate-owned centers.
It's the advanced training and skill level of our surgeons that ensures your procedure is done correctly, painlessly, and cost-effectively the first time.
Make today the day you change your smile forever. Call us or visit FusionImplantCenter.com because one moment can change a day, and one day at Fusion Implant Center can change your life.
Need private security you can count on? With Veteran Security Services, you're always protected. Locally owned and proudly serving the Gulf Coast, they're not some big national firm chasing profits. They're neighbors protecting neighbors. From petrochemical plants and healthcare facilities to port and maritime operations, Veteran Security delivers reliable protection you can trust. Every officer is vetted, trained in person, and ready to respond with professionalism. Choose community. Choose confidence. Choose Veteran Security Services. Visit VeteranSecurityFirm.com.
I'm attorney Gordon McKernan. I want to let you know that we have a local office in Baton Rouge that is able to handle your case with care and attention. After being in an accident, the last thing you want to do is travel. Our local hometown attorneys are here to ensure you receive the highest quality legal service and help get you the compensation you deserve. Reach out to our team of local attorneys to handle your case. Call us at 225-888-8888.
Get going and get it done. Get going.
Results may vary according to the price of each case. Baton Rouge, LA 22-13644.
Looking to buy, build, or refinance a home? At GMFS Mortgage, we make it easy because we're local. Our underwriting and processing happens right here in the Baton Rouge office. That means faster approvals, smoother closing, and real people who understand your needs. For over 26 years, we've helped our neighbors in Louisiana achieve the dream of home ownership. Visit GMFSmortgage.com to get started today. We are GMFS Mortgage, your local lender.
GMFS. NMLS number 64997. Equal housing lender. Mortgages originated at 7389 Florida Boulevard, Suite 200A, Baton Rouge, Louisiana 70806.
Sure, there are other places to watch football, but for the real game changer,
yeah, that's Hooters.
Hooters is your home for all the great football action. Check out our game day bundle, 10 boneless wings and a Big Daddy draft beer for just $14.99. Hooters, winging it since 1983.
Insurance companies have teams of professionals to fight your claim. If you want to know what your case is really worth, I'm Spencer Callahan. I'd like to help.
Spencer Callahan is the one to see. Call 387-2323.
LA filing number 16-7970.
WNXX Jackson, KNXX Donaldsonville, and WDGL HD2 Baton Rouge. This hour brought to you by Spencer Callahan Injury Lawyers. LA 21 12681. Offices in Baton Rouge. Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Walkons in Brusly on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Hey, it's Terry and the Sun trying to peek through here at Walkons and Brusly. Restaurants now open. Come by and see us for lunch. Always a great place to watch the games here at Walkons. One of the best beer selections you're going to see anywhere in the area. Over 4 dozen brews on tap, including the seasonal brews that they bring in. Change them out. So if you want one of your old favorites, you can get that. If you want something new, they'll always have that for you here at Walk-Ons in Brusly. We're in the front part of the restaurant right here. The windows are down, but a lot of times when the weather is good, especially as we're in October, you come in here and you kind of feel like you're outside, even though you're inside. Florida Gators with the other big upset of the weekend, not from a point spread standpoint, nothing close to what Penn State and UCLA was, but Texas, awful lot of support. You can question why. That's completely fair, based on who they had beaten and who they had played. But the Florida Gators looked pretty doggone stout on Saturday, getting the win 29-21. Jimmy, I'm going to let you, you told me before the show, you said you find yourself in a unusual situation, which is...
Well, to start with to
defend
Billy,
Arch
okay? I mean, Napier, I thought he had one of these or 2 of these left. And, he was given, you were looking at, what game was it, Charlie? At home, not on the road, where you're saying, well, he might be fired and stuff like that going into the bye week. Yeah.
Miami.
And, the common denominator, the 4 earlier at home is embarrassing loss. And they get housed here, they're living into the second quarter like that, maybe so. But immediately, and I don't know which quarterback was more surprised with how good they played. Lagway never went to run. All right, he's just not a runner. Might be capable of running, but he's not a runner. Nico is, but Lagway, I expect the Texas defense going into this one better than I did Penn State's defense. Now, I think Penn State is pretty good. Texas, they were free conversation that might be the best in the country. It's clearly Ohio State, to this point. And they never stopped moving the ball. I mean, from jump, they just continue to methodically move through them. And Lagway looks so good. It did help that they got their big recruit, the star of the spring game /spring, their true freshman.
Dallas Wilson,
who had 2 touchdown passes. Credit to Matt Humans with that angle on Thursday, picking Florida. But, Charlie, part of this is, everybody, Arch Manning's crap. I mean, what start is this for him? 6, 7?
7.
I mean, and we're ready to. Way too much unknown. Can we see him play? Can we see him play? Past a 2A level of high school football. I mean, can we see some of that before they've taken their time? I think he's going to be fine in the end, but it's going to take some time. He might not be truly special, where like his uncle was thrown in there because they're injured in their season opener at the Rose Bowl against a pretty good UCLA team, and he kind of hit the ground running. That first start against Alabama, they lost for Peyton, but he was not the problem. He was, making them competitive, right? And he looks unsettled. But this is a team game. Is a rushing game a quarterback's best friend? How's that rushing game?
Well, he had 11 carries for 15 yards outside of his rushes on Saturday.
That's not good. And when Drew Aller and Arch Manning are your leading rushers, that's a problem. Now, their defense was pretty good. The team was pretty good, but the schedule's tougher. They didn't have this game last year. They didn't have to go to Georgia last year. They didn't have to go to Ohio State last year. I mean, so the schedule was a joke a year ago. And, I mean, can we beat somebody before we look at the team and give them number one? Can we give them preseason ranking? I get you. But how in the hell are they still in the top 10 when they have no wins? Sam Houston State's about as bad as it gets. And an FCS
they are.
team.
I saw them
They're
the
about
other
as
night.
bad as they get. Housed by New Mexico State.
Yeah.
All right, so I mean, he doesn't, how much of a chance does he have? But he's got to give himself a chance, and he can't just, him and Aller are running way too much. Aller's got way more starts. But both of these guys are pocket passers and should not be given up on the routes that quickly. But he's getting, Florida hit him, but Florida's got it back. That 13 ball, he can tote it, baby.
And they kept after it. He never ripped off a long. I think his longest run of the day was 15 yards. But they just kept hammering away.
Charlie, his yards, he got every yard of a good back. He got
no, he did.
But some backs on his 4-yard carries, backs were getting 0 or 1.
Right,
you know,
and 4 yards at a time, they kept hammering away at it. And I'm happy that you're talking about Manning and Aller too, but mostly Manning, that you're talking about the football part because, frankly, from the national media, I'm tired of hearing about, well, what about all this hype? What about all this hype? You guys did the hype.
That's right.
You guys,
Manning didn't do it. Now, look, he might want to take just a step back on the commercials. I mean,
he's done a couple, but the optics of it, I get it.
But he did none of this.
No.
Aller did. Aller didn't tell me put me number 1 in your draft board.
No. You know what it reminds me of, and you'll remember this. When Beano Cook says Ron Paulus is going to win the Heisman twice, and he had to wear that for 4 years, and it was not his fault.
Right.
He didn't say that. He didn't embrace that, but he was
Charlie,
saddled with
Charlie, this just in. You're surprised we're getting hype out of the Mannings?
No, of course not.
Okay.
Of course not. But like I said, I'm glad you're talking about the football because if
no,
this
it's got
kid's
nothing
name,
to do with that. And their least fan.
Right.
Okay. But it's mostly it's not killing Peyton. It's killing how he's a God's gift to quarterback and things like this.
Yeah.
I mean, no, man, let him accomplish something. Let him accomplish something. Let him do something in a big spot before we just anoint people. It's just a premature in the quarterback position more than any. And Lagway, how many starts is that for him? He's got about 10? He had about 5 last year?
4.
Yeah, so this is 9. This is 9.
That open week, did he not get in some much-needed reps?
Yes.
Did he get did he looked like Nico got different coaching, okay? Lagway got more reps where he didn't, he never had an off season in a camp really.
I would say the same thing.
You saw
about Manning.
dividends.
Yeah, these two guys, we said this. They need to play football. They just need to play a lot of football.
And Manning needs to play football, but he's in some habits right now. He's not doing anything to help his development. That's where I am.
The mechanics look fouled up, but it's amazing with all of the coaching that he's had. That there's still some bad habits there, but he hasn't played. It's practice habits. You're right, he hasn't played. If I looked at him and his name was Joe Smith, I'd be like, okay, he's a nice-looking prospect. He's developmental, but I don't see like, my goodness, this guy's a can't-miss first pick in the draft, future Hall of Famer. I don't see that, okay? I see a nice developmental quarterback, and he's just never going to be allowed to do that because it's a blessing and a curse. I get it.
Him and Aller are the same guy right now. And I do think that the problem is Aller's still there. He's okay. He's okay. He's nothing special. But he's had enough time to give up on his routes. Manning's just starting. Yeah. He's just starting. And but he's not developing. And it's easy to look good against Manning bounced back today. Against who? It's just so extreme with this guy week to week. And he's just kind of like Alabama, Charlie, with their team. Well, everybody's not. No, they got to play well to win. They got to play good to win. Even at home against mid teams in the league. And Vandy's a mid team in the league right now. All right? But it's the overreaction to, Manning's just another guy that's got a prospect that has a chance. And same thing with some of these teams. And that's the great thing about college football. You can't go play sloppy like some of those Alabama teams under Saban, and it doesn't matter because you're so physically superior, especially up front, that it helps. The teams that are physically as physically superior as it gets, there's 3 to me right now.
Physically superior teams,
where they don't have to be, to me, that, and I mean, I'll give you a 4th. I'm going to give you a 4th.
Okay. Well, I would say Ohio State.
Yes.
I like Oregon an awful lot.
Miami.
That was my 4th. I had it. Miami's without a doubt.
And we just talked about in the break, Texas Tech.
Yes.
Yeah. Texas Tech.
Yes.
I'm with you.
They're built. We weren't, but everybody was talking about the skill guy. We're talking about the quarterback. We're talking about Nussmeier. Some people don't want him. I mean, like, it is just, well, it's been around for a long time. The coach and the quarterback get way too much credit, get way too much blame. But when you're built up front, like those 4, those things are going to work out. We thought Penn State was built like that, right?
Yeah.
We thought Clemson was built like that. They're not. They're not.
A&M might be close.
Because, and I don't A&M has a chance. I'm still trying to get past giving up 45 to Notre Dame.
Fair.
Okay?
Fair.
But what did they make an adjustment? And how they do it? You didn't know? The coach took over the defense 2 weeks ago.
Elko. Yeah.
Okay? How they done in 2 weeks?
Well,
Their opponents
they've given up 19
their
points.
opponents are 1-24 on 3rd down.
State could not move the ball.
1-24 on 3rd down. 1 for 10 this week, 0 for 13 last week.
So
he's putting them in the right place.
The defense is better, and Reed hasn't been quite as good in the last 2 weeks as he was in the first 3.
He had a rough first half. He got a little bit. He was terrible in the first half. Yeah.
I had somebody ask me on Twitter today if I had seen, since covering the league,
he's a young quarterback,
this kind of balance, and I said, not at the top, because there's always been, since I've been covering the league, there's always been that one alpha dog up at the top. I came in the league, I came into the job when Spurrier was in his prime, right there entering his prime, and then Saban, and then Urban Meyer, and then Kirby Smart, and you throw in LSU's championship years and Auburn's championship year in the year they made the finals, and there's always been that one alpha dog up in the front, it seems like pretty much every year, and I don't see that. The highest-ranked team in the league right now is Ole Miss, followed by A&M and Oklahoma, and I don't think any of those teams are anything close to unbeatable. There were so many years where I was like, man, nobody's going to beat Georgia, nobody's going to beat Alabama, nobody's going to beat this Tim Tebow Florida team, and I don't see that this year. I don't see anything close to that this year. If the league champion ends up with 2 losses, it's not going to surprise me at all.
We didn't have that last year either.
Well, I thought most of the year, though, that up until the end, that Georgia was. I was wrong, okay? But
Did you see
at this
them
point,
in Oxford last year?
Well, that's what I'm
that's
saying.
not a typical.
That was later in the year. That was later in the year. When they came out and blew the doors off of Clemson in the first week, I thought Georgia was really good. Well, this part of the year, I thought Georgia was really good.
Looking back on Georgia's team last year, and I know they lost their quarterback, okay, in the conference championship game. I get that, but that is not the teams you're talking about.
No,
okay,
but no.
So we had this last year too.
Yes,
we had this last year too,
but not this early. In September, I thought Georgia was really good.
I think we have more teams that are. It's deeper. We had 3 teams that were this close with 3 losses that didn't get into the playoff.
Yeah.
You have more of those teams this year.
Oh, sure.
At least double.
If you had to make a college football playoff today, you'd probably have 5 SEC teams in it. And I don't think there's going to be 5 at the end of the year.
And last year, Texas was a product of their schedule. I mean, what was it? What was their best win?
Oh, gosh. I'll get back to you, Gene. I got to remember.
So their best win, you know what it was? Including was the Clemson playoff game.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant the regular season.
But I mean, that's their best win, Clemson. What do we think of them?
I think some people need to apologize to Quinn Ewers. People were clamoring for him to get benched all year. That he wasn't good enough, and grass is always greener. 100%. And I get Manning was a big part of it, but Ewers was fine. Ewers was very serviceable in that offense.
Ewers, and let me say this about me: his protection, they thought they had enough in place. They got an injury. in their August camp. They did not go in the portal to try and supplement it. All right, so they were. I was a little surprised. The defense was loaded, but their offensive line and in their running game, they're having protect. I think this lack of protection and lack of running game, Charlie, has contributed to Manning breaking down in his fundamentals, in his mechanics. That's where in his decision, being rushed into a runner, as opposed to just being more committed to the pocket.
Texas's best win last year might have been A&M in the regular season.
There you go.
They were 8-4.
I would say Clemson. They got a little bit more juice.
No, in the playoff. I'm talking about in the regular season. Texas A&M.
You watched Clemson?
I did.
And they should be better than on paper this year, right? We watched Clemson.
I watched the whole Clemson game, their opener. I watched it very closely.
I loved it Saturday.
Watched it more than once. Oh, yeah, against Belichick. Ooh.
I mean, Ludacris had to play a brunch concert, to get his in. I mean,
that was ugly. We're brought to you by the Thibodeau store and the Pierre Part store and the newest additions to the family, the LaRose store and the Lockport store. Listen, for your outdoor, this is the prime tailgating weather. This is the prime tailgating month
great was the weather
this
this weekend?
It was, and it's hopefully going to continue. This is your prime tailgating weather. So if you're getting your outdoor kitchen, your tailgating gear, get it at these stores. Thibodeau store, 900 St. Patrick Highway in Thibodeau, and the Pierre Part store, Highway 70 in Pierre Part. Jimmy, you made the trip, and you have collected the gear.
It is, man. And when I went down, Saturday night, man, had the green egg on and did the Chris's specialty meats. I had the bacon-wrapped jalapeno cream cheese stuffed chicken thighs, boneless chicken thighs. I did some duck, cut up the duck after, and did duck nachos, Charlie. That's my thing right now. I'm a duck nacho guy.
Nachos?
Yeah,
okay.
but it all got the electric coal starter with my green egg charcoal because they crackle a lot less than the store-bought. And so you start it up and it takes it. I mean, real char grill, the green egg. I mean, it makes it foolproof as far as grilling. And get all that, my extra cool brush, my wires, my gloves, this and that, all tongs, everything you need for outdoor cooking, your backdoor, your outdoor kitchen, or on-site for tailgating season. Now that the weather's going to be more cooperative and be more enjoyable, it's at the Thibodeau store, the Pierre Part store, the Lockport store, the LaRose store. I mean, how many stamp stores?
You got them all. We got four.
Stores?
We got four. That is the empire.
Shoot them, Troy. I mean, how many do they have?
Live at the Walkons in Brusly, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch. This hour of Live at Lunch with Ott and Hanny is brought to you by Dana Brown at the law offices of O.C. Brown, 343-1111, and ocbrown.com. Roto-Rooter for all your plumbing needs, 925-8710. Supreme Rice, grown, milled, processed in Louisiana since 1936. United Community Bank, the local way to bank big. Tex Morris at Edward Jones Investments on Jefferson Highway, 928-8659. Total Maintenance, your one-stop shop for AC, electrical, generators, and plumbing. Service today, every day for Total Maintenance and Coastal Capital Advisors. Markets evolve. We adapt. The Live at Lunch with Ott and Hanny Restaurant Club. Sammy's Grill on Highland Road. A hometown favorite for tailgating and watching LSU games since 1988. Snow Seafood and Steak for over 50 years on Airline, Highway, and Highway 74 in Gonzales. Dozy Place for hand-cut steaks on Government Street and Mid-City. Louis Cafe, a Baton Rouge landmark since 1941. Just outside the north gates of LSU. Fin Bomb, sushi, burrito, poke, ramen at Burbank and Lee.
Get Moss Max and less text during happy hour at Modesto. Join us Tuesday through Friday, 2 to 6 p.m. for $10 20-ounce margaritas and Dip Trio with $5 drink specials and $6 seasonal cocktails. Eat Modesto, 3930 Burbank Drive.
Pizza that's true to its hand-tossed wood-fried tradition. Roca Pizzeria is heating up its new half-off happy hour, Monday through Fridays, 3 to 6 p.m. Come enjoy 50% off margarita, pepperoni, or cheese, craft cocktails, wine by the glass, and draft beer. Roca Pizzeria, 3897 Government.
Attention vehicle owners. Before you trade your transportation, let K&M Automotive give your vehicle a new lease on life with a remanufactured product from Jasper Engines and Transmissions. A Jasper remanufactured engine, transmission, or differential will extend your vehicle's life. giving you the extra cash to do the things you really enjoy. And Jasper offers a 3-year, 100,000-mile nationwide parts and labor warranty. K&M Automotive, 636-2875 at K&M Automotive, Siegen near Perkins.
Workbox can handle all of your movable storage needs, commercial and residential. Our shipping containers come in various sizes, 8x8, 8x10, 8x20, or even 8x40 feet. Not just one size. These units can be customized for any use. Custom lunchrooms, offices, work sites for plumbers or welders, dual purpose, part office, part storage, climate control, shelving, lighting, using different materials, whatever you need. Give my buddy Martin Padial at Workbox a call at 343-4886, 343-4886, and workboxllc.com.
This is Charles Hanniger for Coastal Capital Advisors. When it comes to retirement, no two situations are alike, so Coastal Capital Advisors will tailor a plan for your family's needs, no matter your age or your financial situation. The bottom line is Coastal Capital Advisors will work with you and build a lifetime relationship. I know, because they work for me. For more information, contact Philip Fontenot and his staff at 337-981-1376 or online at coastalcapitaladv.com. Advisory services provided by New Age Advisors, LLC, doing business as Coastal Capital Advisors as a registered investment advisor. Securities offered through New Age Securities, Inc., member FINRA, SIPC. Since the 1930s, Supreme Rice has delighted their customers for all of your favorite South Louisiana dishes. Whether you like the brown, long grain, medium grain, jasmine, or the new parboiled rice, Supreme Rice makes your favorite dishes even better. They even have a healthy low glycemic rice, a great option for diabetics and those who have high insulin resistance. Supreme Rice is proud to be part of the Climate Smart program, which promotes water conservation and reduces methane emissions so future generations of Louisiana farmers can enjoy the same benefits. For more information and great recipes, find them online at supremerice.com.
By now, you know that we do our show every other Tuesday at the Crown Town Room at Dozy Place. The Crown Town Room is ideal for larger groups, or if you just want to watch the game on one of our 3 large TVs. The tamales are the most popular appetizer, but don't forget the seared tuna with the sriracha glaze. For the perfect blend of sweet and spicy, you can't go wrong also with the flash fried oysters or the shrimp. The porterhouse is the perfect steak to share. Strip on one side, filet on the other, prepared at different temps if you like, bone in to maximize flavor. Dozy Place on Government Street, just off Acadian in the heart of Mid-City.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Walkons in Brusly on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Also brought to you by Louisiana Health and Injury Centers, helping you deal with pain. Dr. Michael Goff and his staff. Man, when you're hurting and you just need some relief, let them help you out with an adjustment, with a program that'll target your problem areas, get you to feeling better. They've helped out members of our family, including myself, over the years. So let them get you into a program that makes sense for you. Maybe you need a dry needle or electric nerve stimulation, cryo or ultrasound therapy. Anything that's going to get you to feeling a little bit better, they can help you out. Airline Highway, Plank Road, Jefferson Highway near Drusilla. Dr. Michael Goff, Louisiana Health and Injury Centers. A lot of people think Miami may be the best team in the country right now. They certainly put a stamp on the game with Florida State on Saturday night. Don't let the final score mislead you, the 28-22. This was not that close. Miami stomped a mud hole in them for 3 quarters, and Florida State made it look good. As a matter of fact, Jimmy, the last play that they ran from scrimmage, Florida State, where they get the tight end, there's a couple of missed tackles. I thought for just a brief second that he was going to get loose and get in the end zone, and Florida State was going to cover in the back door, but that's all it would have been. Miami was in control of this game for 3 quarters, and there are people up front on both sides of the ball. We talked about that briefly. If Carson Beck's going to go throw 4 touchdown passes on the road against a ranked team, Miami's going to be hard to beat.
Carson Beck doesn't have to be great for this team to have success.
So if he is,
and yeah, it's just that's just a luxury. You thought he was great?
No, I just thought he threw 4 touchdown passes. I thought
that's good.
Yeah,
that's good. And you know what? He's got a running game. He's got offensive line. He's got a good supporting cast. He should be good, but and Ward had to carry the team last year. There was no room for error for Cam Ward. I mean, they couldn't stop anybody. Really couldn't. It wasn't as good of a running game. They're built up front, man, to have some great success. And if he continues to, play well, and he should. I mean, there's a lot of things in place, makes it quarterback friendly, and he's got some experience under his belt. Maybe internally, maybe he has matured a little because he certainly was not handling himself. And look, these guys, these college players that are getting all these luxuries, now and not handling it the best. I give him a little bit of a pass, but just
I would have taken a Lamborghini.
We were in Beau Rivage when he went down, and Stockton came in with some Georgia fans. Were they upset? Not at all.
Not really.
Not at all, okay? And so Stockton is more the guy that he drives his pickup truck, to practice and things like that. And he's going to run. He loves to run and lower his shoulder and stuff like that. But Becca's got an NFL arm, Charlie. I mean, he's got some, but it's the defense is way better than what it's last year, and up front offensively as well. Starts there, and man, Miami's got it. This was not nearly as close as the final score. Not even close. That's window dressing at the end.
Yeah, I hate when people do this. I try not to do too much, but I have a hard time laying off now, which is to try to predict the rest of the schedule. But, man, I got a hard time seeing who's going to beat them. Their toughest game the rest of the way is at SMU, which I think is a winnable game for them.
Not the team they have.
No, that's a winnable game for Miami. Louisville, Stanford, Syracuse, NC State, Virginia Tech, Pitt. I mean, it's just very difficult.
Pitt is the one, November 29th, in cold. It's going to be cold in Pittsburgh at that time. They go up there. It could be a little tricky.
And if they're 11-0, they'll have a spot wrapped up.
You're finishing my sentences for me, sir.
Thank you, sweetie. It's very difficult to see a scenario where Miami is not in the playoffs.
They have some cushion built up, and they smacked around Notre Dame pretty good. They caught him at a good time. C.J. Carr's first road start in a hostile environment. They went to, but this surprised me. Florida State was one of my picks. Florida State, this is the game they were looking forward to when they would look past Virginia and Charlottesville. But they're going to be ready. It's very rare in this series, historically, last 40 years or so since they've been good, and they both went through little dips. I get that, but very rarely you go on a road and handle the opponent like that at their place.
Yeah,
it's very 28-3 in the fourth quarter. This thing was much worse than I thought it would be.
I'm not always clamoring for rematches, but I could watch Miami and Notre Dame again. In December, that would be a much more interesting game.
There's a problem. Notre Dame can't stop Miami.
Right.
Miami said that would be strength against her. Miami get stops against Notre Dame. Notre Dame's going to score on Miami too, but Miami's going to get some stuff. I can't see that Notre Dame defense getting stops against Miami.
Fair enough, but it was a 3-point game in Miami, and it was Carr's first. He's going to be better in December. He's already better than he was in.
He got tied. They had to walk off. No, that thing was tied. They had to get a long field goal to win it. So, no, point well taken.
Yeah.
Let's do this. Let's not overreact to those first weeks. So.
Well, but what fun would that be? I mean, isn't that what we do?
But it's the sport in evaluating, and this is why we have 12 games, Charlie.
Yeah.
So we don't have a baseball schedule. We don't have when you have such a low pile of games, and how many games are garbage? Like Penn State, how do we know? How do we know if they're worth a damn or not? Because, you can't play teams like that and us offer opinions. The only thing I saw was the yards aren't as easy as they should be against Nevada.
I'll give you credit on Penn State. You were ready to sell me your Penn State playoff ticket after week 2.
After those. We can't overreact to ugly offensive football. We can overreact to some bad defenses in the first week. We can't overreact to rental wins, but can we give a little bit of concern to struggles? And you see the final score. No, those games were not these big chunk plays, left and right. Don't forget our friends at Dana Brown at the law offices of O.C. Brown. You get in an accident, they're going to handle everything for you. So just like I did, girl pulls in front of me, totals my car. What am I going to do? Oh, man, it's a pain. I got to get a rental car. I got to get doctor's appointments. Man, my head is hurt. I can't. All of this stuff, he's going to handle all of this. Especially, the best thing is negotiating with the insurance companies as well. You want to be Lamar Jackson, negotiate your own contract? That's fine. But anyway, Jerry Jones might not sign you, but Dana Brown will. Dana Brown, he's no Jerry Jones. 343-1111 and OCBrown.com.
Live at the Walkons in Brusly, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch.
Sammy's Grill on Highland Road since 1988. A hometown favorite for tailgating and watching LSU games in a casual atmosphere with the friendliest service. We're now bowling crabs at Sammy's every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday starting at 5 p.m. and on Friday, Saturday, Sunday starting at noon. Sammy serves a wide mix of authentic Louisiana food prepared to order with the best ingredients available. Fresh Louisiana seafood, Cajun favorites, burgers, and po' boys, all built from scratch. Our kids' menu and popular appetizers are sure to please the pickiest of eaters. Sammy's Grill on Highland Road near Starring since 1988.
This is Charles Hanniger for Coastal Capital Advisors, your full-service financial planners. When it comes to retirement, there are no two situations alike. So Coastal Capital Advisors will work with you, your business partners, your legal team, and tax professionals to make sure those goals are achieved. Coastal Capital Advisors will work for you. I know, because they work for me. For more information, contact Philip Fontenot and his great staff at 337-981-1376 or online at coastalcapitaladv.com. Advisory services provided by New Age Advisors, LLC, doing business as Coastal Capital Advisors as a registered investment advisor. Securities offered through New Edge Securities, Inc., member FINRA, SIPC.
Do you know what you would do if you were in a car wreck? It's easy to panic when you or someone you care about is hurt in an accident. Who will pay the medical bills? Who will pay the car repair? Who will deal with the insurance companies for you? Protect your rights. You need someone you can trust. Call the law offices of O.C. Brown at 343-1111. The law offices of O.C. Brown will handle everything for you. 343-1111 or online at ocbrown.com. We want to be your law firm for a lifetime.
This is Charles Hanniger for Home Bank. If you're tired of the impersonal, one-size-fits-all style of banking, you deserve a bank that delivers exceptional service and personalized attention to your needs. That's the Home Bank standard. Since 1908, Home Bank has been a trusted financial partner for your businesses and families because they go the extra mile to help you reach your goals. See for yourself why Home Bank is good for business and good for life. Stop by any South Louisiana, Houston, or Natchez area location or find out more at home24bank.com. Home Bank, member FDIC.
When it comes to celebrating life, there's no better place than Ruffino's. With locations in Baton Rouge and Lafayette, Ruffino's is a steak, seafood, and Italian-inspired restaurant that focuses on the celebration of life, regardless of the occasion. Whether it's the food they serve or the service they provide, their goal is to ensure a remarkable experience for their guests that is always remembered. To view our menu, visit ruffinosrestaurant.com. Ruffino's, where Louisiana comes to celebrate life.
Sometimes it's so hard to find someone to do home repair, odd jobs due to storm damage, or just regular wear and tear over time to your home. Do like I did and call Clean Sweep Restoration and Demolition. Roofing, flooring, debris removal, electric, sheetrock, painting, and much more. Pretty much whatever home maintenance you need, Clean Sweep can handle it. Call Pat Green at 300-7064 for a free no-obligation estimate. Fully licensed and insured, reasonably priced, and for over 20 years in the greater Baton Rouge area. Clean Sweep Restoration and Demolition, 300-7064.
With all of the financial headlines, are you worried if your retirement savings will last? The market's ups and downs can keep you guessing, especially if you're approaching retirement or considering it. If you have more questions than answers about what's next, let's work together to help ensure you're prepared for your journey. After all, retirement isn't the end of the trek, it's a new beginning. Stop by your local Edward Jones advisor. Tex Morris on Jefferson. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
ALS is a progressive and neurodegenerative disease, and we need your help to find a cure. The mission of the ALS Association, Louisiana, Mississippi chapter, is to discover treatments and a cure for ALS, and to serve, advocate for, and empower people affected by ALS to live their lives to the fullest. Whether you are newly diagnosed, a military veteran, a caregiver, or someone looking to learn more about how to navigate living with ALS, they can help. Visit als.org to learn more. That's als.org.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Walkons in Brusly on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
A few minutes from now, we'll send you to the Brian Kelly press conference. Gordy and Chris will be up first, and then we'll have Brian Kelly about noon. South Carolina will be the opponent, 6:45 at Tiger Stadium. South Carolina comes in 3-2, beat Virginia Tech to open the season in the kickoff classic in Atlanta. They had a win against South Carolina State, where they really didn't play all that well, but they won. They lose the Vandy game big at home. Lenore Sellers, their star quarterback, was off to a good start in that game and got knocked out.
Great start in that game.
Yeah,
great start.
6 for his first 7 for 94 yards, and then got knocked out. The game got away from South Carolina. Vandy ended up winning 31-7.
No way to prove it, but it sure looked like it deflated the whole damn roster.
Oh, of course, how could it not?
Okay,
yeah,
I mean, it just did.
You know what the game might have looked like had he stayed in? It might have looked like their next game, which was at Missouri, which ended up 29-20, and Sellers had by far his best game of the year. He threw for over 300 yards in that game, and right at 11 yards an attempt, and didn't turn the ball over in that game, and that was despite being sacked 5 times. Then he came back. They controlled the game against Kentucky. He really didn't have to do a whole lot. They had a big lead early. They kind of sat on it.
Threw the ball well, though.
Yeah,
threw the ball well.
Limited attempts, but yeah.
Well, they shut it down with the lead.
Right, they had a big lead.
4 turnovers for Kentucky in that game. But Sellers, this is translating to the regular season, our expectations, our predictions, the forecast for South Carolina. He's going to have to take that next step because they lose a lot, and South Carolina's not in the business of replacing that much that they lost on the defensive side of the ball. That kept him in the games. That put less pressure on him to force things, and he could grow at a nice, comfortable pace. This year, way less of a supporting cast, especially defensively. He's going to pick him up and carry him on his shoulder. He struggled early, but he really got going pretty good against Vandy, and then he did what he was supposed to do against Kentucky. He is a load to deal with as a runner, but he's showing some signs that he might be ready to develop as a passer.
I really like him. I think that if the draft were today, I think he'd be the number 1 pick. He's approaching that 20 starts now that you got. He started 12 games a year ago. He started the 5 games this year. So he's getting into that range where you've got enough film on him. I think he's been good. I think the upside, I see him. I hate to get, wowed by the physical and not, take everything into account, but I see some wild throws. I see a very
wild, did you say?
No, I see some wow throws. Like there was a throw he made on 3rd and 37 against Kentucky.
No, it's against Missouri.
Well, I'm sorry, against Missouri. Where he's rolling to his left and he throws an absolute laser beam 34 yards down the field.
But that's the problem with those aren't going to happen over the course of the game.
But if he can do that,
I know. Well, so could your boy from Florida. Okay, so he's one of the few guys who could do that. By the way, man, it went a while. So it means he's completing passes to himself.
No, that was really good. Yeah, it means you got it knocked down.
So, but the thing is, Charlie, it's the other things, the everyday things, and Virginia Tech, he threw some really ugly balls. I want to see just the normal thing. Vanderbilt, he was really good. Missouri, he was better. Kentucky, he's showing some signs because the first game, that was some of the worst passes, ugliest. That's why I said wild. I didn't know if you're ugliest. He's kind of cleaning those up a little bit. And sometimes when you're injured, kind of calms you down in that pocket.
It can.
It kind of calms you down, and So.
What I liked about the Virginia Tech in the very first drive, they got him on the move. It was some easy little dump passes and things like that. And then they opened it up. And in the middle of the game, you're right. He got sloppy, and then they picked it up at the end. They ended up winning the game against what's not a great Virginia Tech team. I think he's gotten better since the last time I saw him. I thought in this game last year, if he had played in the second half, South Carolina probably would have beaten LSU. I think he's a really strong talent.
His first year started, he would talk about the roller coaster ride, your good days and your bad days. For a quarterback with so much ability like him, he was having a day.
He was, and he went in and tried to start the second half. He couldn't go. I mean, and LSU, he was hurt, and LSU got loose.
I didn't realize he was that big. I mean, it was a Cam Newton type of running headache.
Getting off the bus, he looks like him.
That LSU was having to deal with. Oh no, he's Richardson in that. He's Richardson who's showing some signs in year 2 as a full-time starter. Richardson didn't have that, but he's so close, and I could see in the wow. Oh, those guys could do some wow. I mean, Richardson as a passer and still got drafted top 5.
Right.
Okay.
And I think he's much
this
better
guy
than Richardson was.
This guy might be the might be that guy. And if he continues with low consistency with his arm, he is going to be hard to pass up at number 1.
Yeah, I agree. And he's never had that disaster game where he's never thrown more than 1 interception in a game. So he hasn't let the mistakes compound on him. He's still a work in progress, but like I said, he's approaching that 20th start. I think he's just going to get better and better. He's a problem. I don't know if South Carolina's got enough the rest of the way, but he's a problem.
Well, your offense, he could light up you. That's going to be fun. LSU's defense is really good.
Yep.
That's going to be fun to watch. That's going to be fun.
Take it to BK. We're here at Walk-Ons in Brusly. Come on by and see us for lunch here right on Highway 1. Biggest selection of draft beer in the area, over 4 dozen brews that are on tap here at Walk-Ons. We'll take you to the press conference, and we're back on the other side to wrap things up here live at lunch from Walk-Ons in Brusly, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
"30 seconds until airtime on the LSU Sports Radio Network.
It's game week for LSU Fighting Tiger football. This is the Brian Kelly Press Conference, presented by the Louisiana Farm Bureau Federation. This Saturday is homecoming at LSU. The Gamecocks of South Carolina come rolling in from the Palmetto State.
Our biggest thing is the details. When we have details, attention to detail, and we have focus on each play, we're pretty darn good. Problem is we can't keep it long enough. We get distracted. That's what we're working on this week.
Coming up, head coach Brian Kelly sets the tone for the Tigers this week and updates all things LSU football. But first, with a preview of this week's matchup from inside the Capital One studio at legendary Tiger Stadium, here are former Tiger Gordy Rush and the voice of your Fighting Tigers, Chris Blair.
Welcome in, everybody. We get back to football this week. LSU going to be back at home. So get ready to welcome in the South Carolina Gamecocks. Another SEC tilt coming up this Saturday evening. Tigers looking to get back to their winning ways. And Gordy Rush suffered last time out. Tough loss on the road to a very good Ole Miss team. 24-19, the final score. And, you know, I guess it's been said many times by many coaches, the bye week always comes at a good time, regardless of where it comes. But I think this being considered after 5 weeks of football, probably did come at a very good time for LSU.
No, very much so. I think first and foremost, this team's been through 5 football games, and there were enough bruises and knocks and things of that nature that you want to rest and get healed up for a very important 3-game stretch right now coming through the SEC and having South Carolina at Vandy and Texas A&M. And then secondly, I think for the coaches, I don't think the fans out there realize just how fast football moves, right? You get into a rhythm, you get back from a game on Sunday, Monday you're really watching the film with the players, you're giving them a chance to rest, and you have 3 days to really autocorrect. I think it's a chance to self-scout, and what does that mean? Let's take on the offensive side of the ball, where obviously there's been a lot of discussion. You get a chance, number one, to see what other teams have done to you. I don't think anybody expected the majority of these teams to have 3 or 4 people at the line of scrimmage and drop 7 or 8 in the coverage. The opposite of that happened a year ago. Everybody was bringing pressure packages. Now you get a chance to digest that and then look at some of the things you've done and that have worked, and some of the things you've not done well, and correct those things. So I think the self-scouting is huge, and I'm interested to see what changes on both sides of the football with after reacting, what happened is that first 5 weeks.
As you mentioned, again, it's a chance not only to self-scout and improve in every phase of the game, but also get healthy, which obviously the Tigers were without Caden Durham last time out, the starting running back. You certainly can't measure how much his loss meant to the team just in all of the things that he does, along with other guys who are just trying to get back to 100% like everybody else across the country. Again, LSU jumped out to an early lead. You know, pretty there on the tip drill, right up 7-0. But as you said, offensively, it was just kind of a rough go the entire game. It seemed like it would be a little bit of a momentum play. And again, taking nothing away from Ole Miss. I think they're a very good team. But watching that game in real time and then going back, Gordy, and watching the film a couple of times after that, it almost seemed like there were some self-inflicted mistakes on the part of LSU that, again, not taking anything away from Ole Miss, but LSU didn't help their causes. And obviously I'm talking about some drop passes, some missed throws and opportunities where you had guys open that just didn't come to fruition. And we heard from Coach Kelly coming in on the billboard there. He basically said, hey, when this team is really locked in on the details, all of the little things that go into proper execution, they've been really good, and that's what they're trying to get back to.
Yeah, it was a disappointing loss because I thought going into it that LSU had the better roster, and I feel the same way coming out of it. Credit Ole Miss, they had a heck of a game plan, and they executed, and LSU did not. And you know, what the things that Coach Kelly talked about offensively in the first half, they kept the LSU defense on the field for 50 plays, and then when you add all the penalties and what I like to call time of day, it was 2 hours. Yeah. And it was warm, and you know the defense didn't look like themselves on the back half of the game. Some of it they were on the field too much on the field in the first half. Give credit to Ole Miss, and obviously take nothing away from Chambliss. He was fantastic at quarterback, and they made the plays, and LSU did not. But look, the margin of victory as we're now seeing in the SEC in this new age of the revenue share. Nobody's great. I don't think anybody's 12-0, 13-0 dynasty. And then 3-9, your Vanderbilts and your Mississippi States are no longer your Vanderbilts and Mississippi State. And so the margin of error has become increasingly thin, and you've got to go out there and execute. And I think offensively, finding a way to, let's put it like this, better time of possession, holding on to the football, and like what Coach said, being able to play complementary football. You can't have your defense on the field that long for 80-some-odd plays in the SEC. Any good defense is going to wear down.
Yeah, I was thinking this weekend watching some of college football that, you know, we use the word parity, and we've used it for a long time. You know, the parity in the SEC or the parity at Power 4 football. But, I mean, it was truly on display just this past weekend as to who can beat who on any given Saturday.
Well, everybody, let's take everybody in the SEC now every school has $20.5 million revenue share. Now it's up to you how you want to share that amongst your student athletes, but the lion's shares go into football. So you've got schools like Vanderbilt, for instance, that we've seen over the last 2 years. They wouldn't got the starting quarterback from New Mexico State, the starting tight end from New Mexico State. They've got a DB from Tennessee. Not in our lifetime did we ever see Vanderbilt grabbing all those transfers. And so that's a very good football team, having a chance to watch them, you know, hang with Alabama on the road for 4 quarters. And I went back and saw the South Carolina film. They were the more physical team in this game. This is not, you know, not the Vanderbilt of 10 years ago.
Well, the good news is, and I know it's hard to find good news, and certainly nobody takes losing harder than obviously the players and the coaching staff, and they had to wait. Probably, as we said, for good reason to work on some things and get healthy, but they have to wait to put that bad taste away. But the good news is you are 4-1 on the season. Right. And there are some other teams that probably had big dreams going into 2025, and they've already got 2, sometimes 3 losses. So, again, everything's still in front of LSU. It's going to be important to see, and we'll hear from Coach Brian Kelly coming up at the top of the hour about the work that they put in. And again, I think it's going to be a lot about South Carolina this week, but obviously the last 10 days or so, or the last 10 days leading up to this week, is probably going to be all about LSU.
No, absolutely. It's 100% about LSU. I think we've seen enough of this team, and we know how good the talent is on this team. If LSU takes care of their business and executes on, you know, both sides of the ball, and of course in the special teams, LSU's got an excellent top 10 roster. They've got to play to that capability.
Well, again, the Tigers 1-1 in league play, 4-1 on the season. They'll be back in action this coming Saturday. It's homecoming 2025. A lot of things on hand here. We'll talk a little bit about that before we hand it off to Coach Brian Kelly. Up next, we're going to talk about those South Carolina Gamecocks. Last year, it was a thriller in Columbia. LSU able to outlast the Gamecocks 36-33. Find out what Gordy knows about this year's team under Coach Shane Beamer after this quick break. We'll be back right after this.
In Louisiana, we love our LSU Tigers. When the band strikes up those 4 iconic notes, the fans go wild. At Louisiana Blue, we're Tiger fans too. That's why we've teamed up with LSU Athletics to bring you the compassion of the cross and security of the shield, so you're free to wear your stripes and roar. Live Louisiana. We've got you. Louisiana Blue, Louisiana True.
At Town Square Pizza, we take pride in serving Baton Rouge with fresh, delicious, piping hot, personalized pizza with unmatched speed. Whether you're a downtown worker, a family looking for convenience and value, or an out-of-towner staying at one of the nearby hotels, Town Square Pizza is the spot for you. Try a specialty pizza like the Spanish Town Supreme or custom build your own. Family packs, kids' meals, and salads are available as well. It's hip to be square at Town Square Pizza, downtown facing. What else? Town Square.
Go Automotive has a great selection of new cars: Chevy, GMC, Hummer, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram. You rather a pre-owned vehicle? Using our resources, we'll help find you any vehicle that you're looking for. Our service department offers VIP service. You never have to come to the dealership. We'll pick up the vehicle at your home or office, drop off a loaner, service the vehicle, and return it when it's done. Mention my name, Jimmy Ott, for VIP pricing. The Chevy Tahoe I drive came from Go Automotive. That's Go Automotive in LaPlace and Plaquemine.
The Louisiana Farm Bureau Federation, the voice of Louisiana agriculture.
Champions make plays on the field and in life. With LSU Online, you can keep your career moving, earn your degree, and still run your own game plan. Learn anytime from anywhere and take the next step toward your goal line. It's time to make your move, Tiger fans. Visit online.lsu.edu. LSU Online. Win where you are.
Coming up, Coach Kelly addresses the media on this week's preparation. This is the Brian Kelly Press Conference, presented by the Louisiana Farm Bureau Federation. Here again are Gordy and Chris.
Tigers back at Tiger Stadium. Coming up this Saturday, they get back into SEC play, stay in SEC play, as Gordy mentioned. Next several weeks, going to be awfully important to the overall season for your Tigers. They take on South Carolina. They're on the homecoming menu here in 2025. Kickoff for 6:55 inside Tiger Stadium. We'll get things started at 4:45 along network lines. And Gordy, as I mentioned earlier, the game last year in Columbia, again, I think a very underrated home field advantage there in Columbia at Williams-Brice Stadium. It's not the biggest stadium by any means, but it is a reverberation machine when they get 80,000 in there, and it gets awfully loud. And LSU got down early, 17-0, before basically you could look up. Credit the Tigers. They battled back. I think that's when we all really got introduced to Caden Durham. He got the Tigers on the board on that electric run. LSU able to hold on to the win 36-33. I bring that up because South Carolina, I got a lot of friends who are Gamecock fans, having lived in the Palmetto State 10 years, about 15 years. And they all really felt like this year, with Sellers coming back after, having some great time at quarterback last year, did lose some key defensive players, but had some key defensive players coming back. Expectations were awfully high. They got off to a 2-0 start, scored good points. The defense got after, I think gave up maybe 10 or 11 points the first two games. Then ran into that buzzsaw, the more physical Vanderbilt team, as you pointed out, had their chances against Missouri on the road in Como, but then got right against Kentucky. Kentucky, a program that's certainly struggling this year, but a big confidence booster for the Gamecocks is now they come here probably with revenge on their mind.
Well, no doubt, it was an epic football game, and a lot of South Carolina fans thought they should have won that game as LSU came from behind. A couple calls went the Tigers' way. I remember that, and a couple things were thrown on the field above my head when I was down in the end zone there at Williams-Brice Stadium. Look, South Carolina's roster is not what it was a year ago. They lost a lot of people to the NFL. Lenoris Sellers is obviously a fantastic quarterback. He's gotten some first-round grades as we continue to see him go through this season. Offensively, they have struggled. I mean, statistically, they are in the bottom one quarter of the SEC, bottom one quarter of the stats in NCAA football, and they have struggled. Now, one game in particular, you mentioned the Vanderbilt game. It was a 14-7 game when Sellers took a targeting head-to-head hit. Yeah. He was knocked out of the game and put into concussion protocol, and then things got out of hand in that football game. He came back to play against Missouri up there at night. It was a tough environment, and the offense could not keep up with what Missouri had. They had a couple big plays, but they've given up a lot of sacks. They've given up a lot of penalties. They've been inconsistent on offense. Against Kentucky, it was the Gamecock defense that had 4 turnovers, and they had 2 turnovers, a fumble return, and an interception for a touchdown. So it wasn't a great offensive output. It was a good defensive game, and they beat Kentucky 35-13. So it gives you a little bit of the picture, I think, why Vegas has LSU as a 10.5-point favorite over the Gamecocks.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think you're spot on with the offense. I mean, even in a win over Kentucky that looked lopsided, Sellers 11 of 14, 153 passing yards. He had 81 yards on the ground. I really think when I look at this matchup, I think this will be a defensive game. And I'm not saying that it'll be a low-scoring game, but what I mean by that is LSU can't apply the pressure. That's kind of been their MO. And he really struggled against Vanderbilt. I think he had negative 28 yards rushing with all the sacks and really tackles for loss that Vanderbilt was able to get on South Carolina. I think that bodes well for LSU and the style of defense. On the flip side of that, last year, I think, as you mentioned, South Carolina had a much better front seven.
Yes.
Now, they've got 2 pretty good edge rushers that return this year, but I got a sense that they are going to be like everybody else since Louisiana Tech facing LSU, and they're like, we may not get the pressure we could have gotten last year, and we did get last year, so let's go ahead and stick 6 or 7. We'll rush 3 or 4,
No
and let's just clog the passing lanes. I think, and for that, whatever defense has the upper hand, I think the team's going to be in better shape.
Yeah, I think South Carolina's defense is going to yell at LSU's offense, show me what changes you've made, because everybody has run the same front. Ole Miss, as you mentioned, ran a lot of 3-man fronts, and they were able to get some pressure on Garrett Nussmeier. Now, what South Carolina does have, they have 2 outstanding players in their front seven, number 46, Brian Thomas Jr., and then number 6, Dylan Stewart, I should say, is an outstanding edge rusher. Both of them have 3 sacks. I think they have 14.5 sacks as a team. One thing they do well on defense is they get after the passer. So, it's going to be copy and paste. I mean, Pete Golding likes to bring a lot of pressure packages. He dropped and played coverage the whole game. So LSU's going to, have to be more consistent throwing the football, and Coach Kelly's talked about that. And secondly, they're going to have to run for over 100 yards. If they're going to defenses are going to put 3 and 4 people up in the box, and you're going to have the numbers to run the ball, meaning you have as many offensive linemen or more offensive linemen there in the tackle box, you've got to be able to run the football, and that's going to be the big question.
South Carolina and LSU, Saturday night in Death Valley, 6:55 is the kickoff time. Gordy, big picture before Coach Kelly joins us. Again, how important is this game? You talked about the next 3 weeks before the second bye week. Of course, we know what the back end of that looks like. Obviously, at Alabama, eventually you got to go at Oklahoma to finish up the regular season. How important is this game? Because it's your first game back after your first loss, and you're at home against an SEC opponent.
Well, look, I think it's huge. Every game is big for now. You can't afford to stub your toe and get to your goal of the playoffs without help. You don't want to have to depend on somebody. So every game is big. But I think this is a huge game for LSU's offense as a confidence builder and narrowing down, hey, this is what our identity is. Let's take this on the field, execute, and get this right. South Carolina team, they can beat you, but to play the Vandies in the A&M the next 2 weeks, you got to get right offensively Saturday night against South Carolina.
Obviously, I do not believe Coach Kelly's going to get really deep into the game plan, rightly so, during today's press conference. But I know he's been asked on a couple of times. In fact, I've asked him on the weekly radio show. I think you've talked to him as well, pregame and postgame, about maybe moving a little quicker on offense. And again, I don't know if he'll talk about it today as far as what they've worked on. We've seen it at times, saw it some last year, saw it some this year. Your thoughts on when you see them go a little faster? Maybe not warp speed like Ole Miss, but move a little quicker.
Look, I think just a little bit of tempo, getting it 15 seconds or so into the play clock. And so that means probably less substitutions, packages, right? Less substitutions, less variations. Let's just stick with a personnel package and go. And the reason that I like that is, to me, watching Garrett Nussmeier operate rhythm. I think any quarterback wants to be in rhythm, but going back to his high school days in Texas and then watching of the years, some of the time he's been here. I think you get folks in a rhythm where they're out there executing, they can things start clicking a little bit better. So I'm wondering to see if you see a little bit of tempo. The flip side of that is you want to, you got to hold on to the football. You need to eat up a little time of possession and make sure your defense is on the sideline. That means, converting some first downs, keeping the ball in play. So there's a balance to that, but I'm wondering if that's going to be one of the solutions, just a little bit of tempo and moving a little bit faster.
Real quickly, before Coach Kelly joins us, I know we had to make some adjustments on the offensive line last time out due to DJ Chester's unbelievable targeting call, which we don't have enough time to get into now. But Carius Kern, again, highly touted coming into the program, and he got the start, and you were right down there on the field. Again, if there's a silver lining in a tough afternoon, the fact that he got that type of experience in that type of game on that stage, again, I got to believe he's going to do nothing but help moving forward.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see who's the starting lineup. Weston Davis, as we heard last week, he took it was in a concussion protocol, took a helmet, broke his nose or fractured his nose, which is unbelievable. It does happen. They do actually, you do want to hit in pregame warmups just to get the feel for that. Is Davis going to come up and then Paul Mumenga was out, and so you've played a lot of people. They've got some experience. That's a good thing. Who are going to be your starting five? And we'll see if he's going to settle on and talk about that in the press conference today, or are you going to continue to see some people rotate through?
Running backs, obviously, we're without Caden Durham, but good sign from Harlem Berry. Looked good, especially late in the game.
Look, I think Johnson's run well, but it would be nice to get Durham back out there.
All right, let's head to football ops. Here's head coach Brian Kelly.
All right, back to work. Our players returned yesterday after a few days off. As a staff, certainly we got a chance to do some recruiting and then, get ourselves ready for really a gauntlet, 6 SEC games in 7 weeks. And I think we've all realized that each and every week, if you do not play your best against an SEC opponent, you leave yourself vulnerable. So we know that. We know what's in front of us. We're excited about what lies in front of us in a sense of, we've got outstanding teams that we're playing. They're nationally ranked. This is the part of the season now where teams, begin to show what they're made of. And for us, certainly what we're looking for is a complete game. We have not played a complete game. And when I use the word complete game, I'm referring to offense, defense, and special teams complementing themselves and each other, right? What we've had is, bits of really good performances, in particular the second half by our offense, but not a very good start or a good first half by our offense, but our defense playing well. And in particular, you just look to the Ole Miss game where we did not play efficiently enough in the offensively to start the game in the first half, got ourselves behind, and then played well in the second half and had an opportunity to win the game. That can't happen. You leave yourself open to last play of the game, last series of the game, key stop. We just need to play a complete game where our offense complements our defense and special teams. That hasn't shown itself yet. It will. We've worked hard on that. Our players have committed to that. And now we'll get an opportunity to show ourselves against a really good South Carolina team, a team that, I think many know is led by Lenore Sellers, who's an outstanding athlete, incredible arm, has the ability to change a game. We saw what he did against us last year. Certainly somebody that we have to make sure does not wreck the game for us. Again, Coach Beamer does a really good job in all phases, but, their special teams this year in particular, really show themselves. I think that's going to be a great challenge for us. They've got an outstanding returner. They've changed the game in a couple of instances on special teams. Vicari Smith, as you guys know, he's got 3 punts for touchdowns already. So that gets your attention immediately and understanding how important special teams will be in this game. Last year they blocked the punt. Generally, as you know, if you block a punt in a game, you stand a great chance of winning the game. We're still fortunate enough to win that game. So we've got to be really clean in special teams. We've got to be able to accent the things that we do well as well in terms of our returners. But we've got to play really well in special teams. Defensively, they've got an elite pass rusher, probably one of the best that we'll see all year. I think, when you look at guys in this league, everybody's got the ability to rush the passer. But again, I think in our situation, we're going to have to do some things to take care of Dylan Stewart. We're going to have to, be very cognizant of where he is. He can obviously disrupt your passing game, and we'll have to be very, very aware where he is. It's accomplished defense. They've got good pieces back from last year. This will be a great football game in Tiger Stadium. We're excited to be back at Tiger Stadium and look to continue to have our success there. So with that, we'll open up the questions.
Coach, obviously you mentioned the importance of complementary football. How much of a part of that is also trying to capitalize more on some of the turnovers you guys are creating on defense and turning those turnovers into more points?
Yeah, I think your point is well taken, Koki. Those have turned into field goals. We need to turn those into touchdowns. I don't know that they've been empty possessions, but they haven't been impactful possessions for us offensively. And so, yeah, that's part of this, right? This is about playing more consistent football offensively for 4 quarters, and then taking advantage of your opportunities, whether it be special teams, which they have, turnovers, which they have, and we're going to have to continue to do that or get to that level if we want to have the success we're talking about.
Brian, just a general health update. Could you kind of give us updates on Weston and Paul and Caden, maybe anybody else that you think might be questionable?
I think we'll list Weston is a go, Caden is a go, Nuss is a go, Paul is questionable, and Anderson is a probable. Those are our guys on the report right now.
Right. We've seen Alex Atkins sitting next to Joe Sloan in the press box. Can you kind of work through what his role is on game day, and is he influencing play calling or anything like that with Joe working together?
Yeah, they're collaborating. In particular, Alex has been assigned the run game, and I think that collaboration occurs. I can hear it on the headsets. They work well together, and that's why, I've said this before. We want to run the ball more efficiently, but I see the signs of that coming together. So we expect that to get better and better as the season goes on. But, yeah, those two are collaborating on game day.
Coach, last week you talked about wanting to see some differences in the passing game.
Yeah.
Can you go into a little bit more detail on that? And then secondly, would you want to see the receiver rotation maybe in series be reduced, or is that what you were talking about? Can you just elaborate a little bit more?
I think last week or 2 weeks ago, you saw less personnel moving in and out of the game at the wide receiver position. We were setting almost every play for a particular player, and in some instances that's good, but sometimes you don't get the flow of the game, right? There's 2 things going on. So I think we felt more comfortable what the rotation was last week in terms of our receivers being in and out of the game. And look, I think at the end of the day, it's more explosive plays. We were 1 of 7 when we threw the ball down the field. We've got to hit some of those shots that we came up short on. Those are big plays that usually led themselves for us to touchdowns. So big plays down the field, we've got to hit on those. And then I think finding a nice rhythm offensively where we're not, going over the boards every time, on a shift change. We've got to be a little bit more consistent with our flow.
This game included, but also just around the country, there were a lot of quarterbacks heading into the year that people were very, 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 very excited about, but hasn't always necessarily gone to plan for those guys. So since it's more of a nationwide trend, do you think it's more about quarterback development at the high school level? Is it about the way defenses are sort of attacking quarterbacks nowadays? Like, is there anything that sort of goes into this, or is this just a big coincidence and I'm making this all up?
You left me plenty of room there, Koki. Your shield is down. I love it. Look, I come at from this a different perspective, right? I think we all this build up to the season. We have all this time to read and think about who the best is, and everybody's got to get their shout out as to who the best quarterback is and and sometimes that's just, not realistic. I think what I'm more interested in is let's be a little bit more patient. Let's see how this thing plays out. We got a big stretch of games in front of us. Whatever your narrative is on our quarterback, so be it. You earn what you get in everything you do in life. But there's so much in front of us. I just think maybe the lesson is in everything we do in life, let's be a little bit more patient. Let's wait till all the facts get out. Let's be a little bit more interested in what this process looks like than trying to get out with some kind of announcement right out of the gates. That's just my opinion.
This probably dovetails into that, but last week some unsettling news regarding Kyron Lacey's situation there. Just him having been a part of this team. What are your thoughts on that, and will you use to address the team regarding it now?
No, look, and it kind of follows up on Koki's question, is that, I thought that this is a process that takes time. I think I said back in, when this occurred, that let's wait until all the information comes out, because for us to make these, universal statements early on, it doesn't serve anybody well. And so, I don't have any facts here. I'm following it just like you guys are. Let's just be patient and make sure that all the information gets out. He's loved by us, was loved before and is loved after. So, there's not really a need to talk to our team. They follow it. They love Kyron. He was a great teammate, and he's going to be missed.
Coach, how did Nuss respond to last week, and what do you think you'll have for him this week in preparation for the game?
Yeah, I mean, he's like I said, I mean, he's feeling better and better. We didn't do a lot with him last week. We wanted to use that as a recovery week for him. Obviously he did a lot with VR, stayed involved in everything that we're doing, run game checks, blitz checks, things of that nature. But we just cut him down from, the throwing. And obviously we're going to go out today. We'll get a bonus day in terms of being able to practice today. So our expectations after talking to him is he feels good and he's ready to go. Good?
We're not letting you get out of here that quick.
All right. I was hoping.
Go ahead, Matt.
Whenever Gabriel Elliford was injured, we talked about some of the guys that might rotate behind him. Against Ole Miss, Dylan Carpenter only played 9 snaps. Is there an expectation that that might increase, or are you primarily going to run with the 3 guys?
I think it's a game-to-game situation. We trust Dylan, but there's certain situations we want to match those 3 players up in the game. And I think that the way the game was playing, we felt more comfortable with that 3-man rotation. Dylan's in that opportunity to be a guy that plays more, but I think it's going to be game to game.
Without tipping your hand too much, I mean, were there any other moments you scout over the week that you really, okay, yeah, this is obviously something we need to look at and figure out?
No, I think there would all, we've been so much better in the second half than the first half. From an offensive perspective, play a little bit more to our strengths. And really, like I mentioned, much more of an efficient 4 quarters of offense is what's needed. There's no major changes. There's no, hey, we're going to go to split back veer or do something crazy here. We have to be more efficient in our passing game. We've got to hit shots down the field. And then we have to be much more efficient with the run game. So we've been working hard on it. Our guys have. I'm proud of the way they really locked in last week in a bye week. And my expectation is this offense is going to continue to get better week after week.
With a guy like Sellers this week, how do you feel like this team has improved, particularly when it comes to stopping, running quarterbacks, athletic quarterbacks?
Yeah,
like him?
I mean, that's the first question that you would expect to hear. Last year, Sellers, when he was in, hurt us running the football. So first and foremost, we have to have a plan in place to stop the quarterback run. And then you got to keep him in the pocket. He operates best when he's outside the pocket. So, discipline in our pass rush lanes having a solid scheme up front to take away the quarterback run, and then let him be who he is, right? I mean, he's a quarterback with great talent. He makes plays outside the pocket down the field. We've got to avoid the big chunk plays that are not scripted, and so he's a major focus of what we're doing this week.
In the off week, in the self-scout, when you look at the offensive line, what are you seeing there? Are they getting close, or, how can they get this running game going?
Well, again, getting the running game going is a relative term to, for me, in terms of efficiency. You don't want to be one-dimensional, but you want to be able, when you run the football, you can have some success, like we did against Ole Miss late in the game, right? How do you carry that to, where we're going to bludgeon people up front? That's not who we are right now. But we need to have a running game that keeps you honest, that you can't, put 5 guys in the box and cover down with 7 others. So fair box runs, we've got to be better at, and we've got to be able to run the ball efficiently when you give us that look. If you want to play too high and give us fair numbers, we've got to be efficient at running the football, and we will be eventually.
Brian, right here in the front. I guess 2 real quick. First, for just some clarity, what if anything did Garrett do on the practice field last week, and then 2, with Carius and Weston at the right tackle spot, just is it still an open competition between those guys? How do you just sort of handle that spot along the offensive line?
Yeah, Nuss was involved in the entire practice. We just didn't have him throw. He threw with a towel, which is just getting the motions and keeping the arm ready. But he did essentially all of the mental work for what we had for the days on the field. Yeah, I mean, Weston Davis obviously couldn't play in the Ole Miss game, but look, he's got some snaps underneath him. Karras is there. If Weston needs a blow, we can also look at Karras inside at the guard position now that Paul is banged up. So we've got some flexibility with Karras to move him into the guard position or the tackle position.
With Nuss being limited last week, what did you see from Michael Van Buren, that maybe in growth from when he first got here to now, and what do you think some things that maybe he needs to work on?
I think, he's beginning to command the offense the way I'd like a starter to command it, not a backup. I thought earlier in the year he commanded the offense like a backup. I want him to go in there and with confidence, with communication, and do that. And I thought he did a very good job when he was given the reins last week. So those are all really positive things because I think we see his skill set. He's got a lot. Mike, we knew we were getting the board. I think it's just his maturation as a freshman coming into his own now that he's been in the program. So that was a really good week for him.
After that's available to return in the second half, stay with Kern to start the second half.
Essentially, I think there were major issues, Matt. Brad Nile made a decision there to make a change. We felt like he was giving energy. He was protecting our edge really well in the passing game. A couple mistakes inside out, which we expected that was going to happen. By and large, we felt like let's let the young guy, and that was kind of our sense.
The job that Kyle Parker's doing, you have a number of guys. Kyle Parker?
Yeah.
Yeah, just the job that he's doing.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he's, look, he's a player that we had a lot of confidence in, but, it was hard to get him on the times because you've got a great player in Aaron Anderson. So being able to get some of those guys in rhythm, as about earlier, is important because he gets now a little bit more time on the field. It's not one play in, one play out. And so I think we've been able to see his skill set. He was big for us in 4th down. Obviously, a great catch when the ball should have went somewhere else. He catches it and is able to be strong enough to get a 1st down. So some key catches for us. He's a very important part of our offense.
Coach, you mentioned last week about how distractions had been an issue. Some players not locking in 4 quarters, and you wanted to get that fixed. How do you do that this week before South Carolina?
to play complementary ball like you mentioned?
Yeah, the distractions to me is just, having focus, one play at a time. It's 4 to 6 seconds. You can't let the next play affect the play that's coming up. I think that's sometimes competitive maturity and growing as an individual. I think we have some guys that have that can do that and lock in every single play and not let their play kind of go up and down. It's a process of guys playing and understanding when they see that they're not playing well, they got to remind themselves to lock back in, keep this to a 4 to 6 second play, and move on to the next. And that, I think, as I said, a number of our veteran guys have it. We got to get all of our guys on the same page.
You might have talked about this after the Ole Miss game, but I think people said you ran the ball twice in the first half with a running back. Perhaps is it a case of having to stick with it sometimes, even when you're not having success?
Yeah, it's circumstantial to a lot, Jacques, in terms of the runs, right? You want to be able to set up what you as a play caller. And look, the coach does a really good job. He so I get it. We're looking for balance in our offense. And sometimes circumstances are such that, a run call doesn't make sense here. But we clearly understand the need for balance. We clearly understand the need to complement our defense, and you can't do it just by throwing it.
Absolutely. On the offense or the defense, gave up some big plays, maybe more than you used to, but at the same time kept you in the game. They were on the field a lot. How did you feel the defense performed at Ole Miss, and what, if anything, needs to be worked on?
Well, in the second half, anytime it's an Ole Miss, give up, meet level of our defense in that game. Yeah, listen, our defensive players to a was not our best game. But if that's not our best game, it was still good enough for us to win the game if we play up to our standards on offense. And that's really, when you break it all down, the end of the story there. All right, thank you.
Coach Brian Kelly with his weekly press conference as the Tigers get ready to get back to action. Coming up this Saturday, it'll be LSU hosting the South Carolina Gamecocks. We'll have some final news and notes before we wrap it up after this.
All right. It's a beautiful day for football here at the stadium, and we're just about ready for kickoff. Score 0-0. And suddenly, I'm in the mood for a Coke Zero Sugar. Real Coke taste, zero sugar. Now that's a winning combo. Yeah, crisp, refreshing. That hits the spot. When it comes to great taste, Coke Zero Sugar's always on the scoreboard.
If you're near the north side of campus, I need to remind you about a couple of longtime favorites. Highland Coffee is the original specialty coffee shop in Baton Rouge since the 1980s. My personal favorite. Love getting my cappuccino from their friendly, knowledgeable staff. Roasted right in the shop. Louis Cafe for breakfast and lunch 7 days a week. The Mitchell omelet, Cajun hash browns, Big Cheesy Lou, all served up in that famous open kitchen atmosphere. In Tigertown since 1941. A couple of great spots. Highland Coffees and Louis Cafe just outside the north gates of LSU.
Louisiana, you've got a new home for coverage of LSU, the New Orleans Saints, and the Southeastern Conference. LouisianaSports.net. LouisianaSports.net. Feature stories, opinion columns, recruiting updates, in-game reports. And it's all free. No paywalls, no annoying pop-up ads, no recurring subscriptions. Just the content you crave. From the folks that bring you 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge, it's LouisianaSports.net. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
As increasingly dangerous storms shatter communities across the U.S., reliable forecasting is more important than ever. At LSU, our researchers created a highly advanced flood and storm surge tool using AI and supercomputers to analyze millions of data points so emergency managers and responders can predict vulnerable areas faster and more accurately to protect you, your loved ones, and your way of life.
That's a wrap on this week's Brian Kelly press conference, presented by the Louisiana Farm Bureau Federation. For last-minute news and notes, once again, here is Chris Blair.
Looking Looking forward to Homecoming 2025. Tiger Stadium coming up this Saturday. LSU will host South Carolina. Kickoff at 6:55. Just a reminder, coming up on Thursday, we crank back up the Brian Kelly Show live from TJ Ribs. It'll all start Thursday at 7 p.m., so come on out, enjoy dinner, and hear about the football team, the very latest as they prepare to take on the Gamecocks. And then on Saturday, we'll get it all started at 4:45. It'll be network airtime. Hunt Palmer, Marlon Favorite, Brandon Taylor will be right here in the Capital One studio, leading you up to that 6:55 kickoff. Again, Gordy Rush, Jacob Hester, myself will be on hand inside legendary Tiger Stadium for kick. Gamecocks and the Tigers. Thanks again for joining us.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Walkons in Brusly on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
And a return here at the Brusly Walk-Ons. Glad to have you with us today for live.
How's
at
your lunch?
Yeah, my lunch is really good. I had the Cajun Diaz, one of the.
It's kind of one of your studies.
Yeah, it's a specialty. It's got a little star bite on the menu.
Okay.
So if you got a star bite on the menu, I figure that's something
What
I ought
does
to
the
order.
star indicate?
That it's good.
It's fit for Charlie. That's what it means.
Right. What'd you have, Phil?
Turkey burger.
Turkey burger.
It's
I've
good.
had that too.
Yes,
pretty
indeed.
good. Max?
Catfish Orleans.
Catfish.
Oh, very good. Blackened catfish with the fried shrimp on top. Very good.
Come on by and see us here at Walk-Ons any day for lunch or to get a cold beer. One of the best selections of beer anywhere here on the west side. Over 4 dozen on tap here at Walk-Ons in Brusly.
That's the thing. It's just some places don't have the beer is not always cold. No problem.
Yeah,
No
got
problem.
a lot of selection, and it's all at the right temperature. So that's what you would call news out of this thing. You don't expect it coming out of an off week. The report is pretty good. Nussmeier, Davis, Anderson, Mubanga. I would say all of that. He sounded optimistic on all of that. It does leave him with a choice at right tackle, and certainly the way he phrased it indicated that Weston Davis would go back into the starting lineup, and he says we have options with Carius Kern to play him at guard or tackle. I think we're rapidly approaching the point, if we, excuse me, if we're not there already, that Kern is pretty close to being one of their best 5 offensive linemen. I think he's certainly one of their most aggressive offensive linemen. He's got some work to do. He's not a finished product, but his aggressiveness, his tenacity, meanness, if you want to use that word, it's something that they could. So we'll see how much he excuse me, works in there. He did say this about Nussmeier. He says, first of all, he worked most of the week. He did not throw the ball as much as the guy throwing with a towel, but he went through the rest of the stuff, went through the drills, went through the VR work, all that stuff. He said, whatever your narrative is on the quarterback right now, so be it. You are what he used the word deserve. You get what you deserve there. He says, but a lot is in front. I think that's fair. I think you can have a different narratives on Nussmeier right now. I mean, I Lord knows, in the week off, we spent most of the weekend in the sports book. Nobody's without an opinion on Nussmeier right now. So, what he said, whatever it is, my narrative on him right now is through 5 games, I've seen him make some good plays, and I've seen him make some really foolish plays that I don't expect out of a senior quarterback. I think he was, at least from the Louisiana Tech game to before the Southeastern game, in some way compromised. I'm not saying he was injured, that he needed surgery, but I think he was hurting. And then in the Ole Miss game, I couldn't tell all the time.
It does. Well, when you get hit or you pressured and you just turn off, it has a residual effect sometimes. You're anticipating getting hit or moved and stuff. And so even when you have time, it affects the times when when being hit and being pressured has that. And is he a little bit physically compromised? I think that's fair to say, but not enough to making a lot of the differences. Does he have some protection and he's missing throws? At times, very few, some. But to me, it's all about you get limited protection and against three-man front, and it just the protection is an issue. I thought they did a good job of anticipating protection issues against, at that time, a respected front in Clemson. So what did they do? They didn't throw the ball down the field much. They did pick their spot in the Brown. It was a great throw, great catch. The refs took it away. But, man, he got the ball out quick, and he was asking less of his offensive line with protection. From game 1 to game 5, you should progress. And that's a unit, I think, that usually gains the most progress on a college football team. From game 1 to game 5, it hadn't gotten and one bit better. Then the bye week, what do? They found some stuff. Like you said, let's see this guy's got some nastiness. We need to get more reps. Whatever, committed to the running game, but you talked about that. But to me, it's about this is a team sport. You look better when you're surrounded by really talented players. He's got talented, skilled wideout guys, and those guys have caught the ball, have they not, for the most part this season?
Yeah.
We don't see a ton of drops.
No.
We see some explosive elements. They got playmakers, and they're catching the ball. It's about the offensive line, and when he's getting moved and he's getting thrown off of his comfort zone and still having to throw into 8-man coverages, that is by far the biggest excuse or reason that everybody's looking for when quarterback. And the quarterback gets way too much blame. Did he play any worse against Ole Miss than he did against Florida? Not really. Not in my. You really lacked a team first. You didn't exactly. But they won.
They won. Yeah.
A lot of
they caused 5 turnovers on the other side.
But did he play any? Did you hear as much of the criticism on Garrett after the Florida game as you did after the Ole Miss?
No, you didn't. The one play I was going through in my head was the interception when they're in Ole Miss territory, which is, in my opinion, his second worst throw of the year. He didn't make that play in the Florida game. He didn't make that common mistake in the Florida game, and that was a whopper.
He didn't throw a pick in a Florida game.
Not that bad.
He threw a pick. Did he
throw a pick at all in the Florida game, Max? I don't remember if he did. But he didn't make that kind of decision.
To counter myself.
Yes, threw across his body.
Yeah, that's right.
Ridiculously, yes.
That was
that
every
him?
bit. That was yes. That's what
Florida.
Kelly killed.
That's right. That's right. I'm thinking that was the Louisiana Tech. Yes,
so
both of those are the two worst throws of the year.
The one difference they had, playing home, playing away, but that kind of neutral. Florida's way better defensively than Ole Miss.
Yes.
Okay, but he didn't play any better against Florida than he did against Ole Miss. But so everybody, yes. Well, I mean you can't get it. The people they love their team, man. And this is gone on forever that the quarterback gets way too much blame and too much error. That's the funny thing when we're talking about Miami right now is they don't need. How many of those Miami teams did the quarterback carry them? The great ones.
They had some great quarterbacks, but the defense and some Heisman Trophy winning quarterback. Vinny, until the Fiesta Bowl, had a great year. Vinny had a great year.
They didn't need
that
guy. Okay,
Craig Erickson and Steve Walsh were a lot more common.
How long are we talking about? Is the U back? Is the U back? Is the U back? Well, guess what? Their line of scrimmage is back.
Yeah,
they're back,
and they always hit skill guys.
My point is dude, until you give some protection against a 3-man front, when they're covering 8, I don't care who you are. You tell me another quarterback in the country that's going to have success against that. I just don't see it.
You know who else said that this weekend? Kurt Warner. He says the absolute toughest thing for a guy to do is to deal with when you drop 8 for a quarterback. He says because you take away all the checkdowns, and he says it's just very difficult to operate against. So those were his words. I want to say one more thing about this because this has gotten an awful lot of steam about. You're 5 games in to what is a wide open race for the league, wide open race for the playoff, wide open, and you got more than half a season left. You have put an enormous amount of investment into this quarterback, into this OC, into this coaching staff as a whole, and into most of these players. There are a few personnel changes that I think you might be able to make. I mentioned one with Kern. But at this point, if you go wholesale anything, I see it. I'm not at that. I think it's crazy. I do too.
That is crazy.
That's what I think. It's the equivalent of having done all of your research and invested all of your money into a stock, and the first time it dips, and this was the first time it dipped in this season. I realize it hasn't been perfect. You sell it off. Okay, well, you haven't given the thing a chance to mature. You got to give this a chance. It may not work out. I'm not saying it's going to work out, but you have to.
The offensive line is only going to. It only has so high of a ceiling. But if they could be adequate, then this guy was. I'm sorry, Garrett Nussmeier's good. He's good. Okay, he can make throws that a lot of people can't make. Have we seen a lot of those this year? He talked about killing 1% down. Okay? Well, that's not just Nussmeier. I mean, it's a product of getting hit and being maybe a little bit injured, whatever. But they could be adequate, Charlie. And your running game should get better if it's a lot to. Are you thin? There, yes. And if you have an injury, it's going to be a dip. But Durham's so much their best running back right now. It's not close, and that's going to affect it like it is. But you can't have teams cheating the way they were against you and just daring you to run and things like that. And you just have had so little success that you're not even doing it. So, but he is 100% right. This whole season, you're in actually better shape than what you thought for this point in the season, been low record, and everything that's happening around the country. That you're ahead of schedule to make the playoff. Now, can you make the playoff if you're still allowing teams? That's where people. But no, everything's in front of LSU.
And to make your point before everybody goes crazy, you've been an underdog in 2 games. You won one of those games. Now, has the script flipped on some of the games later in the schedule that you thought you might be favored in that now you're not? Did you think you would be favored in a game, say, against Oklahoma? I don't know how you. I don't know how you can make that call. 3 months ahead of time.
Now? It was about a pick 'em preseason, I think.
Okay.
Preseason.
All right. So maybe you're
not anymore.
Maybe your thought on Oklahoma
that's
has
with
changed.
Mateer.
Okay.
Yeah.
And maybe your thoughts on exactly what A&M would have looked like before the season and what they look like now.
You'd be a lower underdog. I'm slower favorite, but still be favorite right now.
Still be favorite. Okay. Yeah. So you are a little bit ahead of what the odds makers thought you'd be, and that's not gospel, but it's a barometer that we use. You got to take your and the run. I like this comment. Look, give us fair numbers. We can take advantage of it. You had better than fair numbers. Advantage. It's why it drove me crazy after that game. It's like, I'm sorry. I don't care if you're down to a walk-on running back. If they give you 3 against 5 or 6, you have to run the football. I don't care if Nussmeier can do it himself.
Probably if you're third down more, that's tough. So you got to try and. That's a lot of the running plays didn't result in anything. I mean, the running back were not.
And I'm thinking, you want to come out of the 8-man drop, run the football.
I get it, but you got to have production to get it out. I mean, when you just run it off, yes, they have to do more. Yes, the offensive line.